Greetings, welcome back everybody to week 2, day number 2 of the Archon Team League Championships. My name is Frodan. Today I'm joined by Noxious from Team Complexity and Gar from Tempo Storm. Yesterday Gar was a player, but today he is our guest caster. And Noxious, this is his first time casting as a new minted caster member of the ATLC. How's it going, Noxious?
I'm doing great, actually. Pretty excited to be here. I've been following the series at this point. Like, yesterday's matches were pretty awesome. Like, I remember that Zally game, so I really just want to see where this will all end up. Pretty happy to be a part of this.
That's right. Yesterday we had a great selection of games, highlighted by Forsen Boys versus Value Town, which was really close. And then we had Tempo Storm versus Archon, which didn't go so well for Tempo Storm in the final results. How's everything happening in your camp as well as the team, Gara?
I mean, my teammates did well. I got ruffle stomped, so
all right.
Feels bad for me at least.
So we invited you to start the retirement path.
I have to quit my pro gamer career and start casting, so I'm gonna focus on that. It actually feels really bad.
Our jobs.
Because like it feels worse when you prepare a lot, and I feel like I prepared a lot, especially for this match because we were one game behind. And then when you get ruffle stomped anyways, then it's like it feels really bad.
Well, you still got a lot of time. I mean, the thing is, the league, we can go ahead and explain the format. The league has 8 teams, and 7 of them always have a chance to keep fighting on. So as long as you're not 8th place, you still have a chance to make the final playoffs. But before we actually go into that, let's go ahead and explain the actual format of how ATLC ends up going. It's called a team conquest format, where we have 6 decks per team, and you play a best of 11. And the way that works is that each player brings 2 decks, and they represent an entire lineup. The only twist is that you have to make sure that no player loses twice in a row, otherwise he becomes benched. And that means that they can't play until another person on the team is able to grab a win. So, for example, yesterday what happened was Temple Storm started off with like an early win with Hyped, but then Gara lost 2, and Gara couldn't play anymore, so they had to go to someone else like Eloise, etc. And so that's going to be continuing on today. We don't change any format until we go to the next stages of phase 1.5 to 3. The way that's going to happen is that the teams 6th and 7th will play for a match to go into phase 2, and then we take those 4 teams and pick 2 of them to join the top 2 teams in phase 3. It sounds a little bit complicated, but there's a lot of money on the line, so we want to make sure to increase the amount of games to decrease the variance ultimately. Because if you're a team that gets 8th place, do you really have any excuse at all of getting unlucky? It's like to lose that many matches and to not have any good results whatsoever. I think people could definitely say like the difference between like a 1st and 2nd place team and an 8th place team is pretty significant. Wouldn't you agree, Gar?
But honestly, on the other hand, I think all of the teams are strong. Like, there are no weaklings, and someone has to finish last place, right? Yes, you can argue that it's on the other hand, it's very difficult to place 1st place. So you have to beat all the other very strong teams. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that will not be random who's gonna finish 1st.
Okay, sure. Sounds good. So far, Forsen Boys is 1st place for now. Noxious, you've been watching a lot of ATLC. Anything that has been sticking out to you storyline-wise, or maybe even some memorable moments?
I think Druid is kind of what sticks out for me so far, because a lot of the players who did bother bringing it, it's been kind of on the cusp of being good, but at the same time, not really. Like, it's one of those classes that, I mean, it comes back in, it cycles back in the metagame, but I think this time around, and this is the first time I can say that about Druid, it doesn't feel like it's cycling back in the metagame changes anything. When it's done that before. It's like the first time where I just feel that way.
Okay, yeah. I think some teams are actually coming down on Druid. You bring 6 classes, you feel like you have to eventually pick up one that might be weaker than the others against the field, right? We see some people bring Priest, some people bring Shaman, Paladin, and in this case, Druid's entering that mix of like, well, maybe I'm not sure if we bring it. Even Warlock got a little bit miffed yesterday through, Value Town not bringing Warlock and end up potentially costing them, or maybe it was something that Trump felt like Paladin was better at. But I think it's interesting to see what the teams approach. And today we have much more the same thing because we have Cloud9 versus Team Liquid here. What do we expect from these 2 teams Noxious. Like, are you looking for either of these teams to come out as a favorite, or do you think they're evenly matched?
Well, I'd say they are evenly matched. Like, of course, Kolento and StrifeCrow being the two bigger names as far as the scene goes, but Liquid has sick players as well. Like Sho and Neria have been doing very well. The last week, I don't think they lost their games at all. I think they both went 2-0. So again, they've been very good with the decks they picked. I think it all comes down to whom you assign which classes. Ultimately, like some players are much better at specific archetypes than other ones, and you have to capitalize on that. And I think they did it very well last week. So if Liquid pulls that off again, and Kalento's again gonna get maybe, hopefully this time around he gets a better result with the classes that he picked. They definitely are evenly matched, I'd say.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because, and sorry, Guy, I'll let you talk in a second. It's just interesting to me because before I forget, like Savitz and Monk were telling me that they feel like they're actually underdogs in the league. That people don't really consider them, one of the favorites to do well. They think like there's a bunch of other teams getting much more hype. Even like Team Celestial's like, oh, if I were to pick a dark horse, it'd be them. It's like, well, where's Team Liquid fit in it? They're not really like the underdog or the favorites. Do you agree with that at all, Gara?
For me, they're the #1 favorite to win the whole thing. Like,
really,
no questions.
Yeah,
like,
no question.
Yeah, like the performance last week was insane. Like all around, all players with all decks. They're all 6 of them like individually very skilled players. But Liquid are favorite in this matchup. Also, how they played against Team Celestial, that was insane performance. Like, because they work also together as a team. And that's like the small disadvantage Cloud9 has. As a fact, I know they don't really talk together, like discuss strategies. And it's very, very important if you want to like finish first place in this tournament. You can't just be like individually skilled. You need like a strategy. You need to have like a strategy how to pick and what decks to bring in and stuff. And I think that like Team Liquid has everything. They play a lot of games. They're very, very strong with their main classes. They bring a very good roster. They bring everything to the table. They really have everything to win this tournament.
I agree.
Yeah. They have some creative players. They have some rock solid players. In fact, Sho, I want to give a big shout out to Sho. He's been finishing really high on Legend ladders every single season on both regions, Europe and America.
All of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's true. Nairia was doing the same thing too with Malago's handlock. So these guys are something to be feared. But before we do that, we want to go into a player video to get to know a little bit better of our players. And today, our feature is Kolento from Cloud9.
Hello, my name is Kolento, and I play for Team Cloud9. As a Hearthstone player, I'm mostly known for having a good performance in tournaments. Some people think that I'm a good deck builder. The format of a team league is a conquest. All players win 2 decks, and it's best of 11. Interesting format. So basically, teammates are sharing responsibility for match outcome. I want to say thanks to everyone for supporting me and keep doing that. I appreciate it.
All right, so like you mentioned, even though Cloud9 isn't the most, I guess, together team compared to some of the other squads we have in ATLC, their individual skills certainly can carry them. When you think about some of the most iconic players in Hearthstone, 2 of them belong to Cloud9, and Nikop's been there for a long time too, as one of the best players, not only just in Germany, but and all over Europe as well. So take a look at the lineups. We have Hunter Warrior, Rogue Mage, Paladin Warlock for Cloud9, and differences seem to be Druid versus Paladin on the other side here. And people have been flopping between Druid and Paladin as kind of like the number 6, with a shout out to being able to see a priest once in a while, Gara, wink, wink. How do you feel about these guys' lineup when you take a look at it?
If I can go first, I just feel it's kind of weird that there's absolutely not a single shaman being considered, because I think it's still like, even though it's one of the weakest classes, I feel some players, like a Hawkeye is a good example of that, where he will stick to it, and I don't think it's a class that's going to lose necessarily in a Conquest format. Like, it's not something I'd play in a Last Hero Standing necessarily, but in Conquest, I think you can abuse some of the matchups it's going to run into, say Paladin and Handlock sometimes. If you can target those, I think it makes a bit of sense.
Yeah, I think for Liquid, it's all about the Druid. Like that you pick a right matchup for the Druid.
Right.
Like you mentioned earlier, it is really like the weak link of a setup. We saw that like with Oscarka that he like almost got reverse swept. But also other teams were struggling with Druid. You really need to get like the right matchup, and the best matchups for Druid are Controller if they bring that, which is rarely. But Freeze Mage is like the #1 deck because almost everyone brings Freeze Mage. And then yeah, there's actually not many other matchups that are good for Druid, but it's like overall a good like deck against anything in a sense. And that's the Druid is like the infamous 6 deck. Like you have to bring 6 decks, and every team has like 5 good decks, and then you have to go for something like a priest or a shaman, aggro paladin, druid, and druid is like in the same boat. And Savish is like, in my opinion, the best, together with Thais, like the best druid player in Europe. And it's like no surprise that he's like very confident.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't forget about Dice, right?
Yeah,
but you picked
those
him up.
two.
Obviously, makes a lot of sense. I think. All right, so turns out we're in the first game with E-Cup and Area, War versus Mage.
Yeah, but more specifically, it looks like it gravitates toward the Patron Warrior versus the Freeze Mage. Now, Patron Warrior versus Freeze Mage it's not as bad as Control Warrior versus Freeze Mage, where you can stack up a bunch of armor. But I know some players still feel like it's a little tough for the Freeze Mage because Patron Warrior is good at being able to apply a decent amount of pressure while still racking up the armor, but it's definitely not as bad. What do you think about this matchup, Gar? Like, what is there like percentages that you can assign out, or is there just a general?
It's actually
like,
very interesting. Yeah, because there's different strategies you have to go for. Like as a freeze mage, you can theoretically fatigue the Patron Warrior if everything goes right. But the main strategy is obviously to try to draw the Antonidas plus Emperor, Alex Strauss and all that stuff, and just rush him down before he draws the Armor Smiths. It's like very dependent on who draws the key cards first. Like for the Warrior, double Armor Smith is obviously, if you get like a double Armor Smith with Emperor, you can stack up 100 armor or whatever. And then there's no chance to win as the Freeze Mage. And then you just wait for the double frothing and OTK him. But one interesting thing is that many, like I talked with many pro Freeze Mage players, and they think the counter to tech the Freeze Mage is like double Flame Strike. And I've seen nobody going for double Flame Strike. This is like actually very important to deal with the patrons, because you can't really clear patrons with Blizzard.
Yeah, that's a great point, actually. I really like that. Like, 'cause otherwise you really need to get a board wipe exactly on point, whether that's, you know, you have spell damage in some way. I guess there could be an argument to be playing spell damage instead of that, but in Freeze Mage it's kind of hard to fit in, besides Blood Mage.
But yeah, the playstyle actually changed a little bit from Patron. Like 1 or 2 months ago, it was really a focus on just getting the patrons out. But now it's more like a focus on just killing your opponent with double frothing.
Yeah, the cycle-heavy metagame, or the cycle-heavy version of the Patron seems to be much more equipped at the metagame because people feel like they play much better around Patron. No one's leaving 2 attack or less minions on the board. You know, they're really trying to make sure to minimize the effect of it. They're also like trying to minimize the amount of minions played on board. But like, even though Patron doesn't necessarily need the minions on board, Execute being burned here.
Yeah, I like that from Area. He pinged the Acolyte of Pain from ECOP just to make him draw an additional card. You never know when you're going to remove something absolutely crucial to his win condition. Yeah,
he got the Emperor, which is kind of good, but as you can see, it's not too much value. His double Inner Rage, Execute, Unstoppable, a lot of cheap cards, Whirlwind. Just a Frothing, which is like a key card, but he doesn't get it on Patrons or Warzone Commander or anything else.
Wow, the second sweep on the Thorson is going to be so nice too. Just be able to set up things really cheap.
I've never seen someone losing a game with double Emperor turns. Except he has like no cards in his hand.
Yeah.
I could get some with the Acolyte, I guess. The thing is, he really has to keep his Whirlwind to make that Frothing an OTK, effectively.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think he wants to at least try to get other cards of value into his hand. I was thinking maybe even slamming the Acolyte, but I don't know if he wants to actually part ways with an Inner Rage and keeps Thorson alive. I don't know if that matters enough.
Oh man, that sucks.
This is
You
so
don't wanna be
tricky
like-
because you want a whirlwind, but then you're like, wait, I can't do that. I really want that second trigger.
No, Inner Rage is fine to use. Like the card,
Yeah.
you might actually even consider like Inner Raging the Acolyte to get the effect
Yeah.
on another card.
I agree.
And Inner Rage is really not a important
Okay.
card.
Well, with double frothing, it's a little bit more damage, but it's not going to be the biggest deal. So Extras are getting picked up here. I mean, this is going to be... Do you think he's going to go for the rush or try to mail his opponent as much as possible?
When you look at the Rio's face, he's like super
Yeah.
worried. He's like, oh
"What
my
is coming
god,
up?"
he got double Emperor, I'm dead.
Yeah, rest in peace, Snaria. Contemplating the
Hand
end of
is
his
so
life.
cheap. His whole hand costs 3 mana. the
was,
thing
like,
about
joking.
the thing about the Patron Warrior too is that you don't need to have any minions on your opponent's side. You can create 40 damage through 2 Frothing Berserkers just with your own board, assuming you have a Dread Corsair or maybe an unstable ghoul that you can wipe out and get some
Good
whirlwind damage.
patrons, yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
was
your own
joking
Patron.
yesterday. Like he can play his entire hand and then play a Ragnaros on 8 as well.
That's right.
Welcome to
Vibe.
Frothing Warrior. It's not even
it
patron
really
anymore.
The Frothing Berserkers? Everyone keeps pointing at Warsong Commander as one of the main culprits of making this deck like far too explosive because it's what gives
Oh.
it charge is the biggest problem.
I actually would even go away from both and say Battle Rage. Because
Yeah.
Battle Rage was always broken, but in this deck it is like it works.
Yeah, it's one of those things, like, initially, you remember Battle Rage was changed a few times, but Warsong Commander as well, like, it used to enable the OTK with Moltons, then it was changed, and Charge was changed, and everything kind of was dormant for a long time. We really didn't need to worry about it, and then Patron comes up. It's like, hey, you remember all those cards you thought would never see play again? Well, joke's on you. They're all
It's so
coming back.
crazy when you play against the deck about the things you have to play around. Like as soon as he plays an Acolyte, you have to prevent 3 draws or 2 draws. As soon as he, you have to play around the turn 6 Emperor. You have to play around the Death Spite. You have to play around Battle Rage. You have to play around the Patrons. You have to play around the Frothing OTK. It's like just
So-
too many things.
Double Mass Dispel, double Light Bomb, Harrison Jones, double Ooze Priest coming up for like.
I'll
to
solve
metagame.
all your problems with one thing.
Go.
Snipe.
Oh man,
Kill the Warsong Commander and their strategy dies in the water.
yeah, and they'll never expect it either, right? They'll just be like, "Wait, what just happened?" Voida did that to someone. I remember, like, he played against Patron Warrior and Rogue, and he killed a Drake, and then killed the Warsong Commander on the following game. I was very amused.
That's like a new level of saltiness. I was watching Purple Drank playing Snipe Hunter, and people played around Snipe. And he
Oh
was like,
man,
why? Why?
Oh wow, was he? That's really funny if you're like
Poor
playing each
Purple.
round Snipe.
so the Armor Smith here gets developed, so he's gonna be able to get himself some armor,
Yeah.
get a
And
range of.
even card draw with Battle Rage. That's too many cards. Actually.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like getting a bit maybe too high. Maybe just cycle the Inner Rage and kill the Doomsayer.
That really nerfed Patron Warrior.
Oh!
Happened.
Zale happened.
Oh my goodness.
This is not good
He
for
forgot-
Ecop.
Like the
He didn't
way
attack,
from his,
yeah.
He
he
ran out of
forgot
time.
to kill it.
He ran
Yeah,
out
he
of
just
time.
ran out of time, man.
He
That's,
queued it up, but I think he tried queuing it up. It just wasn't fast enough.
Oh man, he's capable of handling the Blinktron from the area, but
Yeah,
He
but
burned also something, right?
not only is he like he's not drawing another card because the Acolyte died, but he also lost his Armor Smith without getting more armor.
Ah, that is insane.
Require my assistance.
yeah, I mean at this point, area will just unload the Frostbolts and the 2 Ice Lances, and his opponent's gonna be so low on health. I don't see the
Yeah.
OTK coming right up. There's an ice block set up, so the amount of damage that Ecop has to prevent here is just too big.
Yeah, that was unfortunately a sloppy outcome for Ecop just because he was not able to get it. Because that changes a lot here, whether or not he's able to potentially survive with all the whirlwind effects on Armor Smith. He would have had better resources at his disposal. He would have dealt with
Oh.
Alexstrasza more efficiently.
He picks it up at least. He does get the Armor Smith for all that's worth. I
Okay.
don't know yet how much that's worth, but it's worth a little bit.
It definitely helps, but his opponent just converted into 4 fireballs, and he still has a Pyroblast.
No.
That's 40 damage of burn. And I always think Warrior is great and be resilient, but not that resilient. Double Armor Smith would have been crazy, though.
What's interesting is last week Colento was their patron player, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they mixed that up. That Eco plays it. Maybe he's
Well-
like more confident or so. I don't know. Maybe he saw misplays. I don't know.
That's
but
definitely
this one was
possible. They might have discussed it a bit.
Which I think this is like interesting. Usually, you discuss like who plays which classes and then you stick with it. Like because you practice those classes. That they changed that. I think this is interesting. But this is like GG.
Yeah, he queued up his
Okay.
actions at least, for all that's worth, so that's gonna force an area probably to just unload all the fireballs over 2 turns. What if Ecop has that crazy Kazan Mystic and area just goes all in with the fireballs? What if?
Well, I don't know. It's still tough to say. He still has 2 whirlwind effects, and the armor smith can gain a lot of life here.
But
Yeah.
he has a gazillion fireballs.
A zillion, that's about right. I feel like Patron is only kept in check balance-wise by the rope. Like, Blizzard is probably gonna keep the rope as it is just because of Patron. Like, that deck is not broken because rope.
Because no Dormu.
Oh, man.
Because people are not taking that in.
That's their fault, man. I have a few decks if I ever face Life Coach or Trump. They all have Miss Dormant.
What you need to do is start recombobulating your 9 drops into Nosdormu.
I know Just Sane was doing that for a while. Like, some Control Warrior variant who was using Recombobulator.
Yeah, it makes sense given that how many heavy legendaries you have already. Sometimes it's a heal too, because there's like, if you recombobulate a giant, there's really no other card that costs that much, so you just heal it back up. Oh my goodness, more fireballs.
If you think about it, would it have... I mean, yeah, the whirlwind effects would have changed the outcome. I was gonna say, like, would it have mattered, really, if the Armor Smith had lived with the Acolyte?
Oh yeah, I think it could have been a big changer because of a double armor smith getting a lot of whirlwind effects, and his opponent only had Frost Nova. He finally drew Blizzard, but he would have doubled up the armor he gotten, I think.
Right.
With better card resource at his disposal too, because remember he lost 3 cards, he had to dump a few more. He would have had a full board of whirlwinds going on double armor smith.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
Yeah, that's
of
right.
life
Yeah, the
to
double
take.
Armor Smith, I think, is the key point. You're right.
Yeah, usually you save. You never play just one armor smith. But that was like a little bit of a face palm. Like where...
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah. E-Cup was more than face
on
palming.
this.
Yeah, like face desking at this point.
I mean, Naria has like 12, 18, 28, plus ping, 29 damage. Easy.
Well, I think this is this enough damage to actually pop the block, which is funny enough.
Which is
That, like,
ridiculous.
yeah, Patron still manages to hypothetically threaten the Freeze Mage.
Yeah, actually, it's just short, isn't it? Oh no, the 5 damage is actually
Yeah,
enough.
5
Oh,
damage.
God.
More than enough.
That is so
It's funny.
It's so ridiculous.
That was that's 29 damage, I think, right? And, or 28 damage. So funny. Well, Naria takes this one very convincingly. Pyroblast to wrap it up, and Team Liquid off to a good start. And again, you know, I can't put enough hype behind Naria. I only can say it so many times. I think that he is probably one of the most underrated players in the entire league. People look at other guys to be more hyped that might be up and coming. They're finally paying attention to Tiddler and some of the other guys on Celestial. You know, they look at like, you know, Kibler and Dog over on Value Town, but don't ignore guys like Nyria who are super rock solid and very innovative too.
I think something about Kibler is that his performance up until this point hadn't been, you know, stellar, but he's been doing super well in the Archon team league, so people pay a lot of attention to him. But Nyria's been
He's like
around for
4-0,
a
right?
long time. Yeah, he's 4-0. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's undefeated. Is he the only undefeated player in the league?
Yes, if I'm not mistaken. Unless I think who else was undefeated? Shocky was. Firebat was.
Oh
right?
yeah.
No, Shocky is still
Chucky did
undefeated.
lose.
No, he actually got Pally and Hunter to 1-0 each yesterday.
All right, that's right. That's right. So Chalky is also undefeated. I'm sure there's going to be some kind of stat tracking for that. I believe Amaz said that the person who performs the best individually gets a $5,000 bonus award called the Master of Duels.
Oh wow!
In which case, I lambasted him for calling it
Only-
Master of Duels for about
Only if
5
you
minutes.
qualify for the LAN finals. That's
Oh,
depressing.
That's probably it. You know, I think what they probably do is they probably take the best performing player out of someone who goes to the offline finals.
Right.
Yeah, but that's depressing. Imagine you don't go to offline finals, but you're the
But you're
best performing player.
You're like 20-0 for your team.
That'd
I'm
be
a
a
new
really
team if
depressing
that's the
thing.
case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so I mean, with this win here with Naria, I just wonder, like, is Rogue? He's got a really good Rogue play, but I know the show played it a lot. So I wonder what the decision was to switch maybe the Warrior and the Rogue between both players.
Cool.
What? I think as long as you're relatively comfortable, and it could be that Kalento just wanted to play other decks, and then they didn't want to give up Warrior at all. It could be something like that, or Ecop, maybe he's saying, I've played a lot of Patreon, I feel comfortable, and Kalento's like, okay, I'll just take something else.
Oh, no, like,
No, I was
Ecom was
talking-
the Warlock last.
Yeah.
And Striveco has the Warlock.
Okay. Yeah, and I think just mixing up is fine too, because it keeps playstyles hard to predict, as long as you're equally proficient at them, right? That's the key thing, because if Ecop's not as good as a Patron Warrior player as Kalento is, then you're actually exposing yourself to potentially drop win percentage points that you don't need to.
So how many games have you seen before where Patron Warrior actually lost because of a rope problem? Like, those are really like, it seems to happen very frequently. Like most of the time, I'll see like one game in a tournament is decided on that. Even tiny things like what Ecop had happened to him here. Like, it was obviously an oversight not to kill a Doomsayer or a rope thing, more so than just something he would do naturally.
I remember, I think also in HTC, like where Zalea had a game with Patron, and he started immediately the turn, like the frothing with armor smiths and stuff. Immediately, like as soon as it was his turn, he started the turn, and he still missed like 9 damage in the end. It's like,
Whoa.
some turns are like, you just don't have enough time, like, to do them.
Was that the game against you where he ended up like missing the lethal?
No, he was playing against. Was that yesterday or was it last week? I think Zayla has had 2 events so far happen to him in this.
But he started immediately. Like,
Yeah,
he
he had it
didn't
happen
waste time.
yesterday,
He
too.
didn't even think about it, and you
Yeah.
still don't have enough time to finish the turn.
Yeah, that's what we get for Blizzard nerfing the rope sometime in the beta. Like, it went from 90 seconds to 70. Like, stealth
I think it was
changes.
Nax
Blizzard.
Ramus around that time.
Yeah,
The
because they
event.
released Belcher and they said we want to make your life miserable at the same time.
Ha! Oh my goodness, I forgot about that. Where the slime took like a year and a half to literally be excreted out of the body of the sludge belcher.
It's like, I think there's a slime here, but I can't tell. Enter.
Actually,
No.
there's a famous game between Savitz and Kibler where I think either Savitz or Kibler forgot about the slime and then like they just died because of it because like the slime just attacked the druid for 1 damage. Like he was at 1 HP and then he forgot to yeah.
Well, little slime that could.
All right, well, this is a couple of interesting opportunities to go for the curve here. It
Yeah,
seems
if you-
like. Oh, go ahead, Gar.
If he goes for the Shredder, he has like no play for the next 3 turns. That sucks.
Would you go as far as to keep the innervate for the Thorson, so that way you can like make everything else cheaper and fit according to the curve on 5
Like-
and 6? Yeah.
It really depends what Ecop does. Like now with the Luthor, now he has the option to just hero power and kill the Luthor. So he will probably just go for it and then he can Emperor next turn. But
Yeah.
if he wouldn't have played the Luthor, he has like the claw into Shredder, and then he might pick up something because Druid plays like 5, 6, 5 drops. It's very likely he draws into it. Now he just goes for the Emperor, which is very strong, obviously. Like
Also,
if he doesn't have an answer to kill it, and if it, like if a Druid gets an Emperor for 2 turns, it's GG.
Oh, especially if Ancient of Lore manages to follow up on Emperor Thorson, like on the second turn, that is just way too much.
Is it possible that it actually will be able to, though? Because looking at the hand from Ecop right now, he doesn't seem to have an answer to it. Even with the inner rage trade, he'd still have to pick up a weapon, at the very least.
That's
Oh,
3
he's-
draws. To
Yeah,
potentially.
he's got 3 draws to do it. It's not impossible.
So Wish is considering the Keeper as well. It's like nice to silence the Acolyte, because that's one way to lose. If the Warrior draws too many cards,
Right.
the Emperor might not be enough.
Yeah. There is a good way for this to work out for Ecop, though. If he gets Deathspite this card.
Oh, that's important.
Oh, that'll
If he
do
got
it.
Deathspite this card, he killed Thorson, and then for turn 5, he had
Yeah.
Inner Rage and Grim Patron Whirlwind combination.
That's another GG combo.
Yep.
Nah, he
Yeah,
didn't get the weapon, so might as well use Inner Rage.
Yeah.
Oh
okay.
wow, he's gonna be able to coin that out next turn, sitting with the patron and a double frothing in hand, and the commander. Oh goodness.
Okay.
That's a really strong Emperor from ACOB. Because
Yeah.
he gets it on the patron and on the frothing and on the Warzone commander. It's like the 3 core cards.
Yeah, he's just missing like a whirlwind here or like an execute.
Yeah. But if he picks up a Whirlwind, man, is that enough? It's 1 mana.
We're seeing an answer from the opponent though, and it's also gonna scare Savis out of his mind. Like
Yeah,
this is the
Emperor-
card that carries it.
Yeah, for both decks, the Emperor is so important.
What's the best way to deal with this? Because originally you wanted to drop the Ancient of Lore, but now you have to deal with the Emperor, so you just hero power instead of play Druid the Claw. And trade
keep
with your
your-
Pilot Shredder.
Yeah, that's the annoying thing. You have to kill Emperor. You can't let it live. It's like no way. It's like 0%.
Well,
Seems
you
fine.
can if you're a secret spy
mean,
for Cloud9. And
You could Druid of the Claw charge into the Armor Smith and hero power with the Piloted Shredder.
What's even like the best drop out of a Pilot Shredder against Patron Warrior? I don't even know.
Mana Wraith. After that Emperor.
Oh,
the
Mana
Mana
Wraith.
Wraith.
That's really funny.
Mana Wraith is not bad.
Lord Walker Show is actually pretty cool too. But... Oh wow, Wild Pyro.
While Pyromancer
Not the best.
is not the best if you want to kill off the patrons. I guess you can trade at least one. The spells are interesting dynamic there.
The Neruba Weplord is also pretty good. Because it doesn't affect any Druid minions, but
Oh
affects all
yeah,
of
I
them.
guess. But
It'll
then,
affect, like Cruel Task, I guess. Yeah.
yeah, Cruel Taskmaster and
Oh man,
Yes.
it could be salty. No weapons. A lot of people cut the one War X. I don't know if ECOP did as well, but like if it is the case, you see that it can be bad in some situations. Like not having any weapons is really
Right.
bad, especially against Druid.
yeah, this is a scenario where the Fire War Axe would have been great to basically clear the what you see on the board here for the next couple turns. The really bad news too is that Harrison gets easily challenged by what's on board, and he can develop a free Ancient of Lore and just continue to threaten the same exact thing while even pushing for damage.
Yeah.
Like,
Which is
this
the
Pyromancer-
way it wins.
Is Armsmith even worth dropping here? I don't feel like it is.
Oh man, that's so sad. That like he has a free real shade and you can't kill it.
Yeah.
I mean,
MC
this
deck.
this gives Savish also so many informations. He knows 100% he has no weapon. He shouldn't be like. It's pretty solid to go for the lore, I think.
Yeah. And if,
I mean, you have to trade, if only for the fear that something crazy comes out of this, right?
You might
Like after the Emperor turn, aren't you just afraid of some kind of frothing burst? There's no weapon, so the odds of that being in his hand are much higher. At least from your
Yeah.
perspective. I don't know.
He's
I get a
probably
little
also going
wary.
face with the shade. Might trade because it's like a positive trade, but I wouldn't be surprised because if he had a way to kill the shade last turn, he would have done it. So
Yeah,
that's
but what-
attack
that's
is
a good
interesting.
point, actually. These are both effectively 5/5s for the
Yeah, and for the
Warriors to
Druid.
deal with.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That attack is, for example, very interesting. It's a very good play because the
Yeah, I-
damage matters a lot for Druid.
Yeah, it's a really good point. I like that analysis. 7 mana gives him the ability to drop patrons with the Cruel Taskmaster and the War Song.
Like a whirlwind
that-
from the
that's a
Emperor
warning
would have
there.
actually been amazing. That's the thing I would be worried about, I guess, from the Druid's perspective, is if there was a whirlwind in that hand with the Frothings, like this extra shade and this extra Harrison Jones really count for a lot more damage.
It
Um,
feels like it should be
but-
okay though, because you can
yeah.
clear the board here, which is what you definitely need to do now that Druid's like starting to pressure you a little bit. Because you can use the Cruel Taskmaster body into the Pyromancer, and you can use the initial damage Grim
Yeah.
Patron.
You
go
have to.
You have to, actually, yeah.
I mean, you're
Really-
dead to Savage Roar.
Right.
That's
Which is
okay.
really funny is that with Wild Pyromancer, you actually can't force nature and Savage Roar.
Yeah, that's so
Kill
funny.
off everything on the board.
Oh man, I've seen people doing greetings against me on ladder and then using the combo and conceding afterwards.
Muster for battle is not a good play with a wild pyromancer on the board.
Is he gonna rope again?
Oh my god, he's running out of time.
Nah, he's gonna be fine.
Okay.
Need to play some StarCraft too and get some APM.
Yeah. Seriously.
We're gonna get like training camps for Hearthstone. Click the Grim Patron as fast as possible.
Oh man.
Mm.
And this is like Savish can't even kill the patron. This is so
Life of
rare
a
that you see
druid.
that.
The life of a druid.
That is so unfortunate. It's like
Keeper, like you have to sound Sid basically.
oh
and play
man.
Belcher.
Yeah, but
What happens
usually
with the war song then?
Well, what's really
Usually
bad
the-
about the keepers, like if you deal with the patron, he's another patron coming.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah,
you deal with
usually-
the war song, the patron copies itself. And it's like, oh.
yeah, on top of it, usually the war song is a bigger threat than the patron.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
most of the
yeah,
time.
I usually.
Like I was talking with Cyan, and like before you kill the patron, you kill the war song, because he can spawn like a bunch of patrons, but he can't attack with them. But now he
Oh
can.
man,
You see, he's like a second patron. You can just
Oh,
do.
the execute draw.
I'm dying here for Savit as soon as he sees the second patron, and the execute's also exactly what enables the reproduction of the dwarves. I guess it's kind of
What is very interesting is because like from the way how Eco played and everything, Savish could figure out that he has no virulent effects because he would have definitely used it last turn.
right.
So he needed to top deck a virulent effect. So probably like silencing the Boston Commander is slightly better, but it doesn't matter. Actually, it does matter.
Was there
because
any
he-
was there any room to play something very board centric like Sylvanas to force him into a complicated trade?
I thought he had. I thought he was gonna play Sylvanas, honestly. But the problem is if there's the patron, because you can't silence the patron at that point. So if he gets anything like an AOE, whatever it is, it can be anything really. Then you're
Oh,
gonna
man.
be in the worst.
Oh, he's really running out of time. He should attack with the war song now.
Are we gonna see MC tag?
Nice, fine. Oh wow, MC Tech value. You actually get the minion with the charge copy.
Oh, I wanna-
he can
I wanna see-
steal frothing.
I want to see swipe top deck with MC tag.
I don't even know if that'd be enough.
Oh, Ecop missed one attack, I think, right? With
Yeah.
the Grid Patron.
Still, oh man, the crazy thing is Savish was ahead
Yeah,
like
and then
a lot,
not
and
at
then
all.
suddenly no chance.
Yeah, I mean, the Sugar Drake and the swipe lets you kill nothing. Actually, you're still gonna take potentially lethal. I mean, you'd kill all the patrons and the frothing. You'd have two patrons in the war song. You'd be on like
Nothing
2
he can
effective
draw.
health. MC Tech with a patron doesn't do anything. Yeah.
Well, yeah. it doesn't
Actually, if you innervate into Wild Growth, it gives you an extra card.
I don't think that's how it works, unfortunately.
I tried it a while back and it used to be like that. I'm not sure if they changed it.
I don't think it works because what happens is you're at 6 of 9 mana and then it just goes to 10 mana.
Oh, right, because it didn't do it on max mana, you're right. When you do it on
Uh-oh.
9, and then it gives you the Wild Growth.
A little bit of BM here. And I think Saviz doesn't want to show Ecop that he has mind control text. I think he's keeping Conquest in mind. So it's like, rather than
On the-
showing him mind control tech, then I'll just end the game here.
This deck is so stupid. Ecop didn't pick up a single virulent effect that game, not a single weapon, and he had the and Savish had Innovate Emperor, and he still lost. That's like.
Yeah, it's
But he drew the combo as pieces though. Essentially, it's like one of those games where sometimes Druid doesn't really have much of their super power stuff like Ancient of Lore, but they just happen to have both Force of Natures and both Savage Wars, and they just did like 28 damage to you in 2 turns. You're like, okay.
yeah,
I
you
guess
can't
this-
even stop it. You're dead
Like
on
you
6.
hero powered me
Yeah.
twice, and then I died through like 4 cards that just happened to be in your hand. You know, that type of thing.
Also,
It
with
happens.
that win, Eco prevented to be benched, which is
Yep.
always like a little thing.
Yeah, getting benched, people are discovering it's a really big deal. That's why I was even surprised ECOP got sent out again, because I feel like teams were starting to randomize their first 3 games based off of the lowest probability of being benched. So like ECOP would go, and then Strifecrow or Kalento would go, and whoever didn't play would wrap up the first
Yeah.
3 games.
I mean,
Another
you kind of
interesting
have to
point-
worry about that. Like the benching is a really big deal in this format. Because if you really need that deck to come out, then like much later in the phase, I mean, of course, early on you've got options with your decks, but once it narrows down to like 2 players, or 3 players with like 1 deck, it becomes a problem.
Yeah. I agree. But it's very interesting is usually people, like when they bring Druid, they really save it as the last deck or second last deck. And Team Liquid decided to send it out very early because you have to get that win on the Druid at some point, right? So it's always interesting to see how people pick and
Yeah.
what
I know
kind of
that
strategy.
RDU and Life Coach, basically the entire team Nihilum basically agrees for the most part that the picking order doesn't matter since you have to brute force your way through the win eventually.
Yeah.
But some other people are a little bit more meticulous about it, and I
Yeah.
think it starts mattering when you have tech cards like Harrison Jones, Kazan Mystic,
Yeah,
MC
that's-
Tech. That's when it matters.
That is a very important point. On top of that, some decks have bad and good matchups. Like you want to like force your opponent into a bad matchup if possible, or in a good, or like bring yourself in a good position. I don't think it's completely random. I mean, obviously you try to. I mean, winning. You want to win in the end, right? So just picking randomly. I don't know.
Yeah, winning's nice. Winning is
It's
nice.
better to win.
You should try it sometime.
Yeah.
Oh wow, shots fired.
No, Gar, you know I love you. You know, Rogue versus Druid is coming up here. This is a matchup that a lot of people favor one or the other, and they're really split across the opinions. Are you in the camp of Rogue or in the camp of Druid here, Gara?
I'm in the Rogue camp. Like, because
Okay,
people
I see.
convince me. People like
Yeah.
Firebat really convinced me that, I mean, that the Rogue is favored at least in that matchup. Just because, yeah, I think Backstab Eviscerate is like the strongest card combination that Rogue has available. I mean, you innovate, like in the past, you used to like double innovate Druid of the Claw and then they kill it for 2 mana.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and-
tempo is just ridiculous. Like Sap is so detrimental to Druid.
Yeah,
Um,
Sap as well.
It's just crazy.
And the thing is, now you run cards like Healbot as well, so it's easier to play around the combo. Like in the past, you just went down to 14 life, and there was nothing you can do about it. You just dead.
Mhm.
So I think that Rogue is slightly favored for sure.
What about Harrison? How much does that change matchups against Rogue specifically? Because Harrison, the more I see it against Rogue, the more I feel like it's not actually as impactful as I think it would be, because Rogue ends up going for like a same turn Blade Flurry, right? They
Right.
keep
Exactly.
their dagger and then they just Blade Flurry.
That is 100% correct. The thing is that from all the weapon classes, it's by far the worst against Rogue. Because they will always use the entire dagger in the same turn. It's very rarely they don't.
That's a great play here by Savi, just straight up denying the dagger and forcing his opponent to replay it. I mean, it
like
sounds
giving-
ridiculous, but it's so strong.
Oh, actually, Tidla did something similar in I think in the finals of DreamHack, where he used it against Master for Battle,
Oh,
That's
yeah.
just, oh my god, this is insane, yeah.
just to draw the cards.
Yeah.
It's a very good play.
The most value you're gonna get, because very often, and I think Amaz pointed that out at some point, he said he looked at the weapon kind of like as a wild growth, because you set it up and it's gonna stay there as 2 mana waiting to be used whenever you need it. So if you just delete it as fast as possible, even without the buff, I mean, sure, you're not denying the ultimate value, but you're still doing pretty well with it. Oh wow.
Oh, that is sick.
That is really unexpected, but I guess he really can't afford to take, 15 damage.
He's like, Savish, you think I can't kill your Harris?
Tit for tat.
But he's now the thing is, one very strong thing is like if you know Harrison is out of the picture, you can really save up your big dagger and use it whenever
Yeah.
you want.
You can
Usually you
camp
have to
hard.
play around Harrison. Yeah.
This guy's tough.
So now he can do whatever he
Interesting
wants.
that
with that.
he went for the deadly poison here and not the South Sea. I guess because what I was anticipating was that Bio Teacher can come out and then deadly poison would effectively do the same thing and you get a 1/1 with it. But I guess this way he plays around swipe and the South Sea doesn't die for free.
And he's saving it for the second oil, so it's like
Yep.
most likely to play double oil.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Most people do. But now he
Nope.
saw the swipe, right? So he's really considering to just push for damage because he's out of he has no more cards.
Yeah,
He
that's
doesn't
another
pick up
thing
the sprint.
too. that what I like about the Harrison play is that Rogue can often run out of its own resources very easily by trying to get tempo. If you just have so much to bully it, then Rogue can't do much and has to rely on sprint.
His dagger's gonna pay off, and 4 tech would have been too little to deal with the Lotheb, and even though he can't play spells, he's still able to keep pushing. And Savitz without any removal, it's kind of annoying, because it doesn't take that long for the Rogue to stack up damage.
Yeah, like if you can't deal with a Violet Teacher, that's usually very, very bad sign.
Here's the thing, though.
Oh, wow.
A lot of tempo can be gained. A lot of tempo is being generated through Kolento. Like, it might be the point where Druid has a lot of resources, but the sheer board just keeps snowballing for Kolento here. He's just going to get more 1-1s, and until there's another swipe, like, he's going to continue to push through this.
Yeah, that's what Rogue does best. That's what I like about them, is they're kind of like aggro control. More so than a control, like a pure control deck. They will be able to go face much earlier than other decks would be able to.
By the way,
Yeah,
another random fun fact. Yesterday, Kolento climbed to rank 1 legend with Rogue.
No, you don't say.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
was fun. Thank you,
Was it?
Gara.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed learning about that. Kolento hit legend.
I didn't watch it.
I
so
mean,
wouldn't know.
Yesterday.
also
from
the
Korea.
sun also rise and water.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Outside of those, big anomalies, I think Kolento getting #1 legend really shouldn't surprise people that much.
It
Wow.
was yesterday,
Oh,
so
wow.
like, come on. It was actually this morning.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch him, so I didn't know if it was fun. Are we saying the fact was fun? If you were saying the fact was fun, then I agree.
Yeah.
You're making fun of my
Fun
facts.
fact. No, I didn't. I wasn't directed at the fact. It was
Stop
directed at the
hating
stream.
haters.
Yeah, Gara haters. Damn.
That eviscerates
Casters be
Raw,
hating.
though, by the way.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
that was like exactly the scenario you were talking about, Gara. It's like that backstab was just made to get a lot more tempo and be able to push again on the board.
Yeah, even though he has like a heavy card disadvantage, it doesn't matter. Like the Violet Teacher is like carrying. You can't remove it and spawn so many 1-1s. He saw the swipe. It's just nothing
Yeah.
a Druid can do. Druid is like also in the Patreon game, as we saw. That's like why Druid is so weak right now. It can't deal with a board. Like once Druid loses the board, it's like nothing he can do. It's like no card he has except Poison Seeds, Noxious. I know.
Start to
Kolento
replay.
just played around double combo with Innervate because he saw that his opponent had Thorson, so he's like, on the very off chance that he
could
has like those exact 4 cards with Emperor Thorson in hand, I will heal myself from 22 to 25. Otherwise, he should have healed the Violet Teacher for more board resilience.
Yeah.
And Kolento does his turn so fast. Like there were for him some turns are no-brainers, even when you have like 3 different options. I really enjoy playing seeing like Kolento Rogue.
Wow.
He plays it very fast. He plays it
close.
much faster than everyone else, honestly. Like, I've seen a lot of experienced Rogue players, and they will take a lot of time. But
Yeah.
Kolento goes all in a lot more often than other players I've noticed with Rogue, and it works out. Like, he steals wins very frequently with that approach.
That's what Rogue has to do. Honestly, it's the reality here. Like Rogue needs to be able to seize tempo when given the opportunity. And just look, like Kolento's hand early on seemed pretty decent, but Savitz warranted aggression, and I don't think there's anything really Savitz can do here to
Wait,
stabilize.
by the way, did Savish play Druid now twice in a row?
Yes,
Yep,
and this
so-
would mean he's benched if he's dead.
Oh, that feels bad, man.
It feels extra bad because I think Kolento is also chilling in Korea, and he's just kind of like maybe in a hostel or in the airport or something.
I can
You can't even play the extra mana that he gets from Wild Growth. Oh wait, never mind. You need to get it because he's at 9.
That's impressive.
Dang. Well, for all that pomp and
Thanks, son.
circumstance that we gave to Team Liquid, they're down early, and Savitz is benched. Yikes.
What was Savish's second class? Warlock?
Warlock, I think.
So,
Or was that? Yeah, that was it. That was Warlock.
oh man, that's
yeah,
actually
Savitz.
very important. I think they will go with the freeze mage now, right? Like if you know for sure Druid is like out of
Yeah.
the picture, you
Show
might
still
as
has
well-
Warrior.
Yeah, I know, but it's patron, so it's not like oh my god, auto lose.
Well, Show could bring control, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
We
I
haven't
really
seen it
liked
yet.
what Strifeco said yesterday. He said the strategy maybe isn't what's best against the remaining. It's about what is really weak against the person that got benched. So, what is really weak
Yeah.
against Druid and Warlock?
Freeze
here?
Mage.
Freeze Mage is pretty much the only. This
Really,
is
the
like the only
Warlock?
class I think.
It's difficult to say what kind of Warlock Savage plays. Probably his Demon Zoo. It's like what you always tend to guess. But like even Forsen played Malygos Lock yesterday. So
Yeah.
people will try to
Handlock I'd bring.
I
mind
would-
game.
Yeah, maybe.
Paladin?
Yeah, I guess
no,
so.
Paladin is good against both decks. Paladin is probably the best. deck.
Only if but if it's Zoo though, is it really? I don't even know if Paladin's that good against.
Oh,
Zoo.
Paladin is like the best deck against. That's like
Yeah,
the
it's
only really
amazing
good
right now.
matchup.
Oh wait,
it's like
I'm
the
I'm
only
thinking
good
the
matchup.
aggressive Paladin. By the way, that's sorry. I was
Oh.
thinking I didn't think it'd be mid-range Paladin. I have eliminated mid-range Paladin from my mind after Trump lost in a game.
It's Strifeco, man.
This is so discouraging when I watch those series. It's like you want this deck to work so bad, but at the same time you realize, you know, going into it, like kind of like Druid sometimes, that it might not work out.
If Strifeco brings Aggro Paladin, I'm out of here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd be
so.
surprised if
lost
Strifeco
all
brings
hope.
it. I quit Hearthstone. Well, not a big loss,
I
but
lose
you
all
know.
hope. Strifeco brings like Cancel Lock and Aggro Paladin. I'm
Oh
gone.
man,
Yeah, I like Freeze Mage now that you analyze it in this capacity, and you reminded me that mid-range Paladin's a deck. And I think it's pretty good because you want to keep the ability for having like Hunter against especially if it's a mid-range slower Hunter, you can have it against Druid and the Warlock. And like you said, Paladin's best matchups are against Savits.
And Strifeco had an upset win with Paladin last week against Freeze Mage. He won with his Paladin, mid-range Paladin against Freeze Mage. Which is pretty nice.
I think that's like the one day I know he lost with his own mage, but his Paladin won, right, without losing any games at all.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know that
mean,
I'd bring out any of like Strifeco's decks.
I
Maybe
said
Handlock.
Colento plays Freeze Mage, but I don't know, right? It's just a guess. It's like you see Mage, Colento, it should be Freeze Mage.
I was gonna say, like, I think Strifecrow could bring out Handlock here. It's also not excessively weak against anything that's on the other side, and it's also if Patron Warrior tries to come out, then you've got something for it. But now it's gonna go up against Show's Hunter, so that's not exactly
has,
what
like-
you're looking for.
Strifeco has the coolest picture.
Yeah, it reminds me of Chen Stormstout from Warcraft.
Yeah, me too.
Like the exact thing. It's like Miss of Pandaria. Pandaren Crow. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine that it might have some kind of expansion in the future too, or some type of content, right? Oriented around Pandaria.
Was there something released yet? Probably nothing, right? About the expansion, they always keep it so secret.
Yeah.
No,
like,
there is that well-met scroll that they're passing around.
That's
Did
like
you get one, Noxious?
I didn't get one. I got the GVG invention stuff.
Oh, cool,
Wow.
cool.
That's cool.
That's sweet. Yeah, I got the scroll. I felt really left out of the GVG invention thing, but it
Not-
feels
no
good to
longer.
be on the inside for once.
Did you analyze the scroll? Did you pick something up?
I
some
did. I
hints?
actually tried to find what the scroll was made of through some scientific, experiments. Got my little beakers. and
Detective Froden.
to trace the
Coming
materials.
soon.
Well, you should
I
distill
zoomed
it
and
to be able,
enhanced.
like if you know the content of liquid and what it's made of, you can probably figure out where it comes from, and then you can probably reconstruct what was around it and possibly know what was on the screen near where it was created. So maybe you'll get the cards before everyone else does.
All right. Well, we seem to go with Warlock here from Strifecrow up against the Hunter from Show. I don't know if that's exactly what Cloud9 wanted, given that, again, Savits is benched, which means he can't come back until another member from Liquid wins, whether Show or Nyria. So this is a really important thing, because if Show loses, Savits is still benched. Or no, never mind. Just kidding. They reminded me yesterday. So if Show loses, actually Savits can play again.
Yeah, he's unbenched. Show though with the hybrid hunter here with the wolf
Yeah, it's
riders.
a very cool version that Sho plays. It plays also like the tigers.
Whoa, melee lock. It's not hand lock. We lied, man.
You never know, man. You never know.
It's a dragon lock. This is. Whoa.
Yeah, I really like Dragon Warlock nowadays, or Mally Ghost Warlock, Mally Lock. I think it definitely has its weak points. For example, you can draw really awkwardly. If he never gets a dragon, this Blackwing Corruptor is just a worse Lost Tall Strider Beast. And if you end up drawing too many situational cards, you also have just really no board impact. But that's like the nature of any combo deck, right? The reason why I love it, though, is it synergizes so well, once again, with the Warlock hero power. And there's a lot of cool opportunities to get really good synergy. Even just with, like, how Twilight Drake interacts with everything else, too. I really like this deck a lot.
But the biggest weakness of it is Hunter. It's like what I heard. It's like by far the weakest matchup. So it's like very good if like Liquid expected them to go Warlock. It's like
Well, I really loved playing around with the Mali lock, where you actually play Demon Wraths if you don't expect that many Warlocks. It's like the one circumstance. Like I played Blood Mage Thalnos with Demon Wraths and the coils. So it gave you like a bit more flexibility for removal against Hunter boards.
See, here's the awkward thing. It's like, well, do I play a Twilight Drake and give up my Blackwing Corruptor synergy? Or do I just like forego a weaker play on the board here?
Many possibilities.
Both. That's like kind of the awkward thing about this deck sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like
The
you
thing
have
is-
to go for the Drake though, no?
another another thing is right now Shu doesn't really know for sure it's Dragon Lock, right?
True.
He saw a Zombie Chow. It can still be Hand Lock, a Twilight Drake. At this
Does
point,
that
you don't
stop
know.
you though? Does that truly stop? Gar, search the deepest parts of your heart. Does that actually
Does a
stop
Hunter
you
get
hitting
stopped?
things?
Yeah.
The only thing is like if you play around Molten Giants, that's the only thing, and that's what he's thinking right now.
So Shadow
Like-
Flame is probably what. Maybe Shadow Flame is a bit of a worry, a little bit too. Like if you don't
Because he
kill
has-
that Drake, there's that.
Okay, right. If he knows for sure this is Malloc, there's no way he would consider to play around Molten Giants.
Right.
But because he has another bow, right, as well.
Mm.
But all he saw right now was a Zombie Chow, a Twilight Drake. Was it a coil as well?
No, not even a coil. He's seen basically nothing
Yeah.
at this point. He knows
And
nothing.
Strifecore is really famous for handlock. Like
John
he's
Show.
one of the best handlock players.
Moves quickly.
He's like, oh, please be Mollylock. Because putting him on 6 life is the worst life to put.
Yeah, you don't want to
on.
put him. Well, I mean, you don't want to put him too low. Is the problem? If you think
He's
it's gonna
playing.
be
He's
handlock.
playing around Molten Giants. He's clearing the board. If he would just go face, he would just win the game next turn.
Kind of playing around two things, and his hand has been very slow so far. So you have to assume there's something.
Yeah. And he doesn't know yet. Like Sludge Belcher, if he plays Sludge Belcher, it doesn't say anything either.
Yeah, it feels like Sludge Belcher gets easily bullied though because of the trades with the Haunted Creeper and the Leopard Gnome here.
You're just saying like, if you can avoid playing the Corruptor, just to give him not to give him the information, you know, he might
That's
just
true.
keep playing around Molten Giants, which is
Show would be like, hey guys, it's handlock.
if he plays
Send him a
cards like
telegraph,
Earbot,
yeah.
It was like,
Belchers,
yeah, good
Morph-
job, Show. And then Strifecore just whips up Malygos later on. So like, what?
What happened there? Soulfire, Dark Bomb. Well played.
That's what makes it so annoying too, and why I was even more floored that Value Town didn't end up bringing Warlock. And it's just a little unfair to peg that as their only, error or something. There's probably a lot of other things too, but Warlock has pretty much every type of archetype short of Fatigue that's viable in Conquest, I think. And it's like there's just so many things that's versatile with this class in general.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right? Even like when you just think about Malilok, there's like 10 different Malilok versions. It's insane.
10.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
People
Patron
play
of
Molten
Warlock.
Giants, one Molten Giant, all sorts of things. They cut the Corruptors. Like Noxus says, you play Talnos. Like, even just a few cards.
Corruptors?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
when you
like a
play Molten
dragon.
Giants-
What? They cut the Malygos and they put.
No, you play Malygos
Wait,
without
no.
the Dragon Synergy.
Bro, Dan. You're being facetious.
No, I
man.
haven't
It's
I
good.
haven't seen people really cut a lot of those cards. I guess
No,
they-
they,
they
they've
did-
experimented with a lot. Really.
Like the people who climb to like top 5 legends and stuff, they play really weird decks.
yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, you would know. I never get that far.
Because
I
it
just
catches you off
like
guard. Just having like random Molten Giants in Malilok, because nobody plays around it, right? And people know that. So
yeah, I mean that's what ladder is: being one step ahead of people and just like confusing them. That's why
I mean, if
whenever
you just-
someone posts a list, it's like the most weird stuff ever. And it's like, yeah, you got number one because no one knows what the heck you're doing. You don't even know what the heck you're doing sometimes. It's like you're playing random tech cards and it just happens to work.
Yeah, I
So
played this
now
Mana
he-
Wraith Shaman. It kind of worked out because, I have a hero power that spawns minions.
He went for the hero power. He manned up.
So, RB Cal with the coil, is that everything with everything Farseer?
Again, if he drew a dragon, I think he would have been in an okay-ish spot. Blackwing Corruptor and the Mortal Coil, but this deck definitely has its moments where it's less than perfect. See if you can draw something else here to help him. See, now Implosion's also awkward against Hunter 2 for another reason, the Unleash the Hounds. Do you want it to do maximum damage sometimes? I think it's like, if I have to kill this exactly, I want it to be 2. And I think that's the only instance where you want Implosion to be less than that, outside of like Frothing Berserker combinations and Patrons.
And this Leok is actually surprisingly effective here. It's like, it's not a big enough threat on its own to justify really going all in on killing, but it's also giving the Hunter a little bit more reach with those minions. He's been spawning quite a few of them. Wow, nice juggle. Was that like a perfect outcome?
I think he'd prefer to. Actually, yeah, I think that'd be better because that way he doesn't have to lose a dog on the board. So anything that gets puts out, I think he's also gotten to the point where he can deduce that his opponent doesn't have any like big threat like Molten Giants. And I think if I'm Strifecrow and I know that I'm probably going to lose, I'd opt instead to forego that. But another thing that is nice is that he can, well, kind of stabilize on the board if he implosions and soulfires, but he dies to just a damage burn that's following up here.
Field bot soulfire is not too bad, right? I mean, it puts you on 16, then you remove Leok. I mean, you're losing Soulfire, which is a big deal, but if you manage to stabilize after that point, like on turn 8, Implosion and Defender is pretty sweet. So,
I feel like that's...
I wonder.
Yeah, that actually might be the only play then.
Yeah, this is really...
He has to lose the Corruptor. Basically, Soulfire needs to get rid of the Corruptor, and it's gonna be golden.
I don't know if that's like the winning play. Yeah, I don't know if that's the winning play either, like going for Healbot and Soulfire. It feels like a survival play.
Wow, that's convenient. And he actually rolled a 2, so minimizing the amount of... well, it doesn't matter here, but it could have mattered.
Ripping pepperonis.
Yeah, ripping the pepperones.
So, Sho has the damage to kill him.
He has 10 damage, so it's like...
I think he was just, maybe he had like some camera issue because it seems like it's frozen.
Yeah.
Sometimes you kind of just tunnel vision a bit. Like, alright, what if I trigger those imps? Oh wait, lethal.
He's like enjoying the moment. He's like...
Living in the moment, but that's gonna revive Savitz though, that Hunter versus Warlock match.
Yeah, well done. It's tied 2-2 now. Liquid gets back onto the board. And that's a win each for Sho and Nyria. And Strifecrow, it was his first appearance, ends up dropping here. Now, Savitz, like you said, can come back anytime now that it's been unlocked. He's been unbenched. But is it the time to bring him out, considering that some of the classes available are still pretty strong? But the important thing is, like you said, if Klento is bringing Freeze Mage, the fact that Savitz is also still relevant with that Druid is important.
Yeah, it's like the one deck that I think really could punish that. I mean, it's I wouldn't want to be running up against. Oh, then again, Handlock is also not that bad of a matchup. Actually, wait, question: does Sho even know it's Malilock? Soulfire.
Yes,
is
he
yeah,
discovered
the
it,
Soulfire and the
Discovered
Blackwing Corruptor.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he discarded the Corruptor, so it's 100%. Druid is good against it, right?
Yeah,
So-
you could play Druid here and run into Freeze Mage or Handlock. I mean Malilock, and you'd be okay-ish. It's just that the other 50% are not what you want to face.
This really looks like they're trying to get that win on the Druid, the way how they played it, right?
Yeah.
Keep sending the Druid out.
Like, you'll die. Okay, you as well. It's like the mid-range Paladin syndrome.
He's
Go
unmatched. Let's send out the Druid again.
Yeah. Hey, they could
We're gonna
try.
get that win.
I think there's like different levels of getting wrecked. There's like I lost a lot of games, but whatever. And then there's like I lost a lot of games with this one deck.
Yeah.
Like I lost 0-6 with like Druid, for example. And then you're just like, wow. And you have this like thing where you just never want to play it ever again because it's like it just gets completely cornered and you couldn't beat their entire lineup with it.
Yeah.
So
It's
I think
happened before, though. It's just they're super disheartening, right? When you get that one deck that like it's a pretty average deck, so you would expect average results at worst. Like the worst case scenario, you're gonna pilot it, 50%. You're like, all right, it's all right. But when you just lose straight up 4 or 5 games with it, that's just disheartening.
I experienced such a
Yeah,
thing.
the
not too
Hunter,
long
Gara,
ago.
Hunter.
Yeah, you might think, man, just one game. Come on.
Yeah,
Come on,
fair
RNG,
enough. Fair enough.
One game. Come on. No.
I think I'm comfortable with. I think I'm comfortable with almost anything here. I think all 4 classes you can make a case of like a bunch of mind games for. So pretty much whatever they feel like is the best for their strategy. So if Cloud9 doesn't want to bench Strifeco or get Strifeco benched at
I
all,
like Rogue a lot.
Then,
like, if
I would-
Naria wants to go, I don't know.
yeah. I was just saying from Cloud9, I think sending Kalento or Ecop here is perfectly fine too. There's like really
Yeah.
not that many bad matchups for this Hunter. I feel, assuming that's Patron Warrior.
That's kind of the strength of the best of 11 too. Like with 6 decks, you're bound to be covering a lot of your dead angles. It comes down to those last few decks really where you will definitely notice. Like if you do a best of 5 Send Conquest between 2 players, you'll be realizing who has the edge matchup wise. And that's kind of where it starts being relevant, like in the best of 11. When there's like 3 decks left on each side and you look at the lineups and it starts to make a bit more sense.
Yeah,
It's difficult for me, like, to rate Malilok. Actually, like, what are the really good matchups? It's such a weird deck to rate.
It's
like, how
really,
good is it against
really,
Rogue?
really good against Handlock.
Mm-hmm.
For example,
that's
if
all I
Naria
know.
goes Rogue against it, like, how good is it? It can be really good, but is it like super favorite?
No, actually, I don't like Malilok too much against Rogue. I haven't liked it, but I think it comes down to when you get the defender and if the Rogue just whiffs on AoE. Like, you really need to get proper timing on those. Very often, I haven't found it necessarily very convincing.
It's good against Priest.
Right? What's not good against Priest? Oh, wait.
Yeah, it's good
Zoom.
against very,
Oh,
very slow
Oh,
people that-
snap.
Wow, Nox is jumping on the Gara hate train. Welcome aboard.
Yeah, having
Okay,
fun.
Gara, we love you. Ecop versus Show. Okay, the Hunter here is what we thought would come out from Cloud9, but the Warrior was potentially Liquid just being a step ahead. I feel like maybe that's the case here because Liquid feels like they conveniently got the right side of the matchups against Strifecrow, and sending the Warrior out here from Show is also
It's pretty good
good.
read.
Yeah. If this is a face hunter, that is. I mean, I think out of all the decks that are there, maybe Rogue has the best chance against mid-range hunter, and Warrior has the best chance against face hunter.
Yeah, that seems to make sense. I mean, it's in line with what pretty much everybody agrees on, I think, at this point.
It also depends on how you build the patron, right? If you have the slow version with shield blocks.
Yeah, that could actually
Yeah.
help. Like, the ghouls is pretty much, it's become more standard. Like, for a while, a lot of people were debating over them, but you see them a lot more now.
It's so. This is for me the funniest thing. How that sickles out. First, everyone cut their inner rages, and then everyone said like, "Oh yeah, inner rage is the best card. How can you cut that card?" And then everyone cut Gromage, and then people were like, "Are you stupid? How can you cut Gromage? It's 10 damage for 8 mana." And then it comes back into the deck, and that same happened for ghouls, right? At some point, everyone cut ghouls.
Yeah, they're like,
"Oh,
I already
it's
have
such a
one
bad
with."
card. And then it came back. Now it's like staple. Oh my god, how can you cut ghouls?
Yeah. They're like,
That
well,
happens with
why
the
would I not
pirates.
want whirlwinds in my deck?
Job's done.
Like, I want 6 whirlwinds. So.
It's so fucking funny.
By the way, I got a question. Do you think Strifecrow was running an Acidic Swamp Ooze in that Malilog deck?
Oh, we haven't seen it, but it's very likely.
Yeah.
In all types of Warlock, like even if it's Demon, Zoo, or Handlock, everyone likes to run one Ooze now because you kind of have that one flexible spot. And it seems to, the card to go right now.
The big question is, will one day anybody make a legitimate pirate deck and then run the Bloodsail Corsair for weapon hate?
If anyone is going
You know-
to do it, it will be Xixo.
Yeah, I was gonna say Pixel could probably pull it off. Like he's done pirate more than most people I've ever seen.
Yeah. Makes sense. All right, well, the Hunter off to a very slow start. That's because it is the mid-range. We saw that Hunter's mark, right? And the high main here. So it seems like it'll definitely be a slower mid-range approach. And against the Patron, generally speaking, the mid-range Hunter has been getting an edge recently. But that usually requires you to curve out very nicely. Like, you hit the strong animal companion, they can't answer it. You hit Houndmaster, you hit like low Theb into high main. It's like then you just completely overwhelm them. In this scenario, though, it's definitely gotten a little bit rockier considering that Warrior has been able to stabilize early game and he still hasn't even had their weapons yet.
Yeah, but that's a really good follow-up, though, from the Hunter player. Like, this is... ECOP's going to be able to silence off the Acolyte. Denying the draw here, I think, is really clutch.
Yeah, for sure. Wonder how much of again, a factor cards like Harrison will be here, because it's another one of those things where we saw it yesterday, and we've seen it in previous tournaments very recently, where it's like you have Harrison, which is great against Hunter, but then do they ever really draw weapons, or is there a scenario where you can really drop Harrison and get value outside of just being a 5/4?
Oh wow, that is not gonna pay off at all.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you never know, right?
She really wants to get the battle rage value, but right now it seems very difficult.
That's horrendous, actually. And if he plays the weapon because it feels like the only safe-ish play, then it just gets hard countered right away.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Would you want like okay? Is he attacking with the Despite next turn no matter what? Because if he is,
not necessarily.
But if he isn't, you can use something like Animal Companion to bait it out, and then drop the high main the following turn. Because this is a high priority elimination now. It's like you can't take 6 damage extra per turn.
And for the Hunter, you really want to force him to use the Despite before he draws the Patrons.
Yep.
So he doesn't have that. So like even if you sacrifice a minion like Animal Companion, it's still worth it.
Oh wow. Wait.
He's gonna battle rage.
Battle rage for 2 cards right here, get himself a bit of cycling. Oh.
2 slams. Wow, it's super cycle heavy. I've been seeing the 1 slam. Is 2 slams common as well now, Gara?
That's also another thing. First everyone cut it, and then everyone started to play 1 slam. I personally don't like 2 slams, but a lot of very good Patreon players play 2 slams.
Yeah, like it all comes down to your playstyle.
Life Coach plays 2 slams. I think that Shio plays 2 slams. Maybe Salai as well. Yeah, he also plays 2 slams. Which is interesting. The cut feels so clunky sometimes.
Jaime's gonna hit the face this turn. And that's a lot of follow-up pressure with Lotheb to shut down spells. I'm sensing that this is like a 3-step push here from ECOP. The first is just set up with damage, the second is press for the win, and third is just laugh at your opponent while thanking him.
Ladder style.
Yep, ladder style. Oh, I hate those people sometimes.
If there would be like statistic, like which class BM'd the most in game, it would be
I'd say
Hunter for
Mage,
sure.
man.
Yeah, like
no,
which class do you
Mage
think
for
says
me,
thank you the most? It has to be Hunter.
Really?
Like,
I don't
which
have
class
that
says greetings
experience.
the most? It has to be Paladin, right? It's like those are. It's statistically true. Like there's no way. It's just, yeah.
Well met.
Smell what?
These are the facts of Hearthstone.
I don't know, man. Like mages seem to me to be like I guess Hunter says Greetings Traveler the most when they get double Leper Gnome opener. Like that is 100% Greetings Traveler statistic.
Yeah, but see that's situational. Like there's situations where you use greetings, but there's also situations where you use thanks and sorry. But for Paladin, every situation is okay to say well met.
Yeah.
There's no wrong time to use your greetings as a Paladin player.
It's true.
Is there?
You're
Can
right.
you name me one? You see, you can't.
Yeah. You can die and say well met on the way out.
See? Okay, well, ECOP's having an identity crisis. He doesn't know what he has to use here.
Wait, but no, it's like a bait. ECOP is the hunter, but it actually looked like ECOP was thinking.
Wow, Gara. All right, well, this is going to continue to put on a ton of pressure here. The way that the warrior can win from here is to stabilize onto the board, but he doesn't even have like the Grim Patron Warsong Commander combination here.
Yeah, it's gonna have to look for more AoE again. Oh, well, that's kind of helpful. In a way.
Yeah, no, it's definitely helpful. And with Armor Smith to follow up.
Yeah, this might actually be the turn where he starts to stabilize very, very well.
This is also like the life pool where, like around where Patron stabilizes, around 10, 12.
Yeah, it's about average for them, right?
Yeah.
They're
And
used
then
to
you get the
Strike
armor
and
smith out,
revenge.
and at that point, the hunter is like out of removals for it, and then you start getting insane amount of health back.
Yeah, and then it's like there's one of these weird things where even if you roll Huffer, you still want to hit the face, but that armor smith is like
Yeah.
staring at you with a nice juicy target on its back, and you're just like,
Like, yeah, if you let,
I think I like her a little better.
it's much worse against
Sure.
Patron than against a controller to let armor smith live, because they get
yeah.
much more armor.
Yeah, against control warriors, like you're worried about sludge belchers and maybe a death spite.
Yeah, Sludge Belcher is like, oh man, damn, why did I not kill armor smith?
Yeah, it's like 4 hits that you have to do separately. But that's the only scenario. In this case, it's
Yeah,
so awkward.
it's like full health back again.
How do you deal with the low step though?
Ooh, that feels so awkward. It's like no hero power that turn.
Oh wow, never mind.
War Song Commander.
That'll do it on 9
Welcome to the
mana.
game.
Yeah. Hell, it's about time.
Yeah, it's heal a little bit of life here.
Does he want to? I guess he can also drop the frothing.
Yeah,
Just
That's what I
collect some damage
think
on
so.
it.
Yeah.
Still a little tight squeeze though. I think.
You might trade it away. I don't know. Do you dislike that?
Oh.
'Cause, I mean, how does he handle your war song? And then past this point, you're pretty much gonna autopilot to victory if this board stays this way.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. It's too tough.
Oh wow,
Oh,
never
the
mind.
Dream. Are you ready, Gara? Are you ready? Oh no.
Oh.
Dream died with Misha.
Everyone is still waiting for the double quick shot dream.
No, it happened one
It
time.
happened, man. I think Shocky pulled it off.
It
Was
was
that
like
Shocky or
it happened one time. That's about it.
yeah?
Everyone is trying to figure out, oh, there's still a way to get lethal. You just quick shot into Arcane Golem. Easy.
Sure.
But one day it's gonna happen.
Yeah, in tournament
Might
to
happen to
you.
you,
It's gonna happen to you, yeah. You're gonna get punished by that for not believing
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah. That's how it works every single time. The more someone hates on a certain scenario or card, it just like ironically seems to mess them up the most.
Yeah. Sneeze old Shredder in his Dormu. Welcome, life coach.
Yeah.
I wonder how many times Thighs had to disbelieve the Sneeze old Shredder Kel'Thuzad for that to happen though.
Huh. I don't even know. By the way, there's an
Yeah.
Inner Rage and a Grim Patron and a War Song already sitting there, nice and pretty.
Yeah.
And
Not sure about pretty, but yeah, I mean,
oh come on, War Song Commander is beautiful in its own way.
Playing against Patron really feels like playing against the
You're-
old Miracle.
yeah.
It's very strong, burly.
Just
you
with
know.
a gazillion lives.
I think it's like the worst thing because initially a Patron wasn't as refined as it is now, and it used to feel like you were playing Freeze Mage when you played it. Like you had this long-term combo thing that you tried to set up, and you drew a lot like Freeze Mage.
Whoa.
Then and then this happens.
All right.
I don't even know what to say here.
10,
To the power 22.
17 damage.
He doesn't care if it's lethal. He's like, hero, sir.
Wow.
Like that.
And E-Cop is somewhat crushed, man.
Yeah, it's like greetings, sir. I just arrived. Everybody got in here. How you feeling?
I don't think there's a combination of draws that can really pull him out too, because Houndmaster was supposed to maybe taunt a minion, but his opponent had a board that got way out of control. So Show takes 2 games in a row for Liquid, and E-Cop drops his game here.
Man, Show's still undefeated is what it means, right? I don't think he lost.
He's done, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
he's
he's
done,
done.
and that means he's like 2-0 again. So another undefeated player to the Archon Team League at this point. Wow.
Yeah, well done for Liquid. They're also back into the lead here, giving Savit some breathing room. The Hunter is still around, though, and I think that was still the worst possible matchup based off what we're looking here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Actually, Rogue still can be problematic, too. Never mind. So I guess we're back to the drawing board. Pick whatever you feel like is good. pure strategy.
I feel like it will come down to the Druid again, right?
Yeah.
To get a win on that. They tried.
Oh, that 6th deck. You know, this is the excruciating part. You cut one deck from this, and you're looking at a lineup that's just strong all around. And then you have to, if you have to smash a 6th deck into the lineup, then everything starts kind of looking flimsy. Like, you wish you could duplicate that Warlock.
I would still be feeling confident with Savish on the Druid, though. I mean,
Yeah, as a pilot, right? Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, do you think anybody could bring Priest and do well? Like, do very well. I mean, like, it's really complicated because...
I know that you're not trying to be mean to Gara, but it's just really funny that you asking him directly.
That's very
Well, he played Priest
Can't anybody
just
bring
yesterday,
it
though. It's only
well.
like...
Is there anyone? The entire scene.
entire-
Anyone? Maybe just one person.
Yeah,
What's
I mean,
also
you brought
funny,
it and you played it a long time ago. It's like one of the classes I see play like quite frequently that other players just don't bring. But it just doesn't feel
today's
super
hero.
consistent either way, right?
Yeah.
I guess Kalento is like the only other player alongside you.
Well,
Kalento
Dog
I've
also
seen
brought
quite a
it
bit.
yesterday and won. So, and we're not talking about how bad Priest is in that context. Dog
Yeah.
actually won the first game he brought Priest, and I think he won a really tough matchup. I feel like he beat
Yeah.
Rogue, or maybe he beat Druid.
Yeah, we always we both played it in HTC and we haven't lost with it, and we had bad matchups all the time, like against Handlock, against Rogue.
Yeah,
if you get a
that's
good
right.
card draw, I guess you can
Patron.
always do somewhat well.
That's why you gotta put Mind Blasts in your deck, man.
What's the adaptation you have to make to really compete in the like against those guys, like against Patron metagame? Let's say, because very often I think you just get comboed down at unfortunate
Yeah,
times.
but if they don't draw Emperor, it's one card you have to draw, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
the thing is, with Cabal, you will always steal something good. If you steal an Armor Smith and you steal an Armor Smith, you already have 2 Armor Smiths, and then like doing 60 damage, you need to draw your entire deck, and that's
Right.
like everyone jokes about. It's so easy, right? But drawing your entire deck, you have to get to that point, and you only run 2 executes. You can't execute a Valence chosen target and then execute a Cabal. It's like those minions, like Harrison, Loa Tab. You can't execute everything.
So it's
And
like
then-
mid-range minions that just tempo
Yeah,
you down
exactly.
eventually, kind of like
That's-
Druid when they get the curve.
That's why Quartermaster, for example, is very good against Patron. You can't kill all that stuff. You don't run Brawl. Like, you need
Yeah.
to survive till you can play your stuff. And Priest has very
Sounds fair
good
enough.
board removals for Patrons with Light Bomb, the Circle auch an Eye. It's probably like the best class with a lot of removals for Patrons.
All right, well, hopefully we get to see a bit more of that in the next few weeks of Archon. I mean, I'd love to see more Priests. It's one of the classes that I think deserves a bit more representation. But then again,
Actually,
I
it
guess
has-
you have to adapt to your players a bit more.
I guess, and it has like a lot of decent matchups. Like with Druid, you feel like, oh man, that's a bad matchup, that's a bad matchup, that's a bad matchup. But with Priest, it's like you like to play against any type of Hunter. You always
Yeah.
feel like from the back in the days, you always feel like Priest was the counter to Hunter.
Yeah.
Like mid-range Hunter is still very good for Priest. Like Priest can handle mid-range Hunter really well, and most people tend to bring that, not aggro. And yeah, Patron is fine, and like Zoo is fine. You know those aggro decks. Priest has like
Still great against mid-range Shaman.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
still...
Any poor
Hey.
fool chooses to bring it.
it can happen.
it
Yeah.
might. I mean, it's one of those
And
things.
also,
Hashtag Silent Storm.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Priest is also pretty decent, from my opinion, dealing with some of the tempo mage stuff too. But I don't know the actual statistics of it because people don't really play much tempo mage anymore.
The least played matchup. I think the only other least played or less played matchup would have to be like Echo Mage versus Priest.
Imagine how
Maybe-
frustrating it would be if
Priest
you bring
is
Shaman.
terrible against Echo Mage, man.
If you bring Standard Shaman,
It's like, well,
And
I
then you-
Shadow Word Death, and he duplicated his Moonbone Giant. It's like, oh god. Yeah.
Handlock all over again.
All right, well, here we go. Kalento versus Savitz. Mage versus the Druid. That is the one matchup. That was actually the one matchup that they wanted to avoid.
Yeah.
Like, Freeze Mage against anything else would have been okay.
And Savitz here.
and I think that on the other hand, Liquid really try to get that matchup. That's why they're sending out the Druid so often. Like you really want to face the Freeze Mage with your Druid because that is one of those matchups the Druid is really favored.
Oh, see
Yeah,
if you can
that's
pick
true.
up a hand. It's gonna help that because very often, even though you might be favored, you still have to play the tempo like very fast. To push them out. This is not quite the minion heavy hand that Druid wants to see.
Yeah. No, wild growth definitely stinks. But he still has a couple of interesting cards here. Mind control tech will be dead, so you might as well just drop it. I think Druid's chances improve in this matchup based off of a few things. Like, he has good draws and Druid's got mediocre draws. The second thing is that Kalento has the coin, so he can convert that into more damage, because that's part of the thing too, is like, now that he has Alex Straza and Antonius in hand, he can start pressuring if he can find a way to go for a win here. So I think there's a couple of factors in Kalento's favor here. He can definitely take it. It's not a 100% to 0 match.
Yeah.
Here. And this wouldn't be the first time in ATLC in recent memory that we saw Druid beat a Freeze Mage. Or Freeze Mage beat the Druid, excuse me, the other way around.
Yeah, I think even matchups are like 70%, you still can't expect them to go down to like as planned systematically. Like there are some matchups like Freeze Mage versus Control Warrior, you kind of feel like you're sitting through a slugfest, but this is not one of them really.
Oh. Second keeper
But
Yeah.
for the Doomsayer. Well,
usually, like, you save the keepers for the Doomsayers. You can never ever lose your board as a druid. Like, it's very crucial.
Yeah, but you still have to have a board, which I think is why what he ended up playing the first one. What he did.
But now, like, right now, you almost guarantee a board clear with the second Doomsayer. If you end up...
I mean, Emperor, Archmage,
Yeah.
Alex, Iceland, Frostbolt, Fireball. That's pretty good,
awesome.
right?
He's gonna unnerf everything.
Yeah. Oh wow. No. Never. Blizzard, please.
Also, what's really unfortunate about Savita's hand is that he'd prefer to use things like Ancient of Lore to maybe heal as the time goes on, but because his hand's so situational and awkward that he has to use it to draw here.
Yes, the combo. Like, you really want the Valkrov as well, right? Just to get the combo out pressure before the Alex Strasser.
Yeah, that's
And
generally
to draw Lord Tap as well, obviously. It's
This
like
is
the
a
key
nice
cards.
box pop, actually, I think.
That would be
This is,
huge. Oh man, popping an Iceblock this early is
Then the
insane.
Thorson stays alive, I think.
Does it matter? You have to swipe. You have to force.
No, you have to use swipe here in order to pop the ice.
Oh, yeah. 6, 8. 13.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can put him down to 1 though. That's the nice thing.
But you don't lose your board. And you can still...
Yeah, what can you do for 7 mana?
I think it's worth it though.
I think so too, considering
I
that
think
you
it's-
have Force of
yeah.
Nature for the hand to burn.
Yeah, to go for it again.
But if the thing is, he doesn't know if it's... Does he know it's Ice Block? Yeah, he knows, right?
Yeah, he's already attacked into it to see if it was Ice Bearer. So like he's fully aware that he's gonna be able to force his opponent to replay a secret
Yeah.
if he's got it.
And Alex Strasser is 8 mana, so he knows that as well.
Even with the Emperor play, it's still not enough.
Also, like, because at this point he has to use defensive Alex Strasser, so he doesn't need to save the law for heal
Oh,
as well.
So what's he do here? He has to ice. That's like the one card that could have helped him if Savage doesn't pick up any like direct damage.
no, that was such a huge draw. He knows his opponent used a swipe and 2 keepers. That's
Yeah.
I think the only other way you can do direct damage without using the ice barrier is the second swipe, unless I'm missing something. Unless a Ragnaros comes out of nowhere.
And,
Wow, Baron Geddon. There you go. So,
and at some point you will be able to do some crazy Alex Strasser plus Blizzard turns. If this keeps going here.
yeah. No, he's very
Oh,
close
yeah.
to getting craziness happening. Like it's just a matter of living.
And he has Antonidas as well. Like,
Yeah.
some really crazy stuff.
You might not need it though.
He has to Nova here or he's
The
dead.
5 damage might add up. Like from Emperor alone, that might just be enough to start punching for
Oh
direct
yeah,
damage.
that's a big deal as well.
Oh, okay.
What is he doing?
He's just removing the board. Oh, is he playing around another silence on a minion?
What are the odds? Wailing Soul Druid is gone. Like it lives
Oh.
for all of a week.
That's interesting.
Even then. Oh wow,
just-
alright.
This is so weird to see that from the freeze mage, right? Playing like this.
Yeah, normally you just like he pushes. But he was going on the off chance his opponent had like an Iron Beak Owl or something.
Yeah, that was weird, right? Like, I feel like if he went for face, I kind of criticized his Freeze Major Dreamhack Bucharest because he's in those situations. Because, like, he will. Like, the way to win as a Freeze Mage is to burst down your opponent, and how it looks like he has to play Alexstrasza defensively, right? Or he's just dead. So you need the damage, you will just run out of cards. Like, he just used both Ice Lances without Antonidas. He will just run out of damage.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. But we'll see what what his longer game plan is, because I really feel the way you do, right?
Yeah.
So
the funny thing is about Alexstrasza, it's like he doesn't have a BGH, he can't kill it.
Yeah, Alex can make up some of that damage too, and there's like Antonidas. Frostbolt Blizzard next turn. Oh, I guess he's just gonna use Frostbolt now. Stop to make sure to preserve some health.
You have to Frostbolt first.
Oh man! Oh wow! Could this have been
that
huge?
can get it out of hand. Oh well, he doesn't have 10 mana. If he had 10 mana, that mana wraith could have gotten super big, or whatever it's called, mana addict.
I'm surprised Kalento killed the mana the shredder after he played Alex.
Yeah, he's doing small misplays.
Yeah. But it's kind of like putting the shredder in the middle, right? Like RDU brings it up, and then you realize it's gonna be something you just harp on forever. But
no one was doing it yesterday.
Yeah.
Everyone was putting shredder on the outside. I guess he cycles.
I'd imagine, yeah. Yeah, he does.
You can't really kill it anyways. But check this out, Antonidas Blizzard.
Easy.
I'm pretty sure that's game.
Yeah,
easiest Antonidas Blizzard of his life.
Pretty sure that's game because Alexstrasza is going to hit for 16, and then you have the 17 or 18, excuse me, from Antonidas. No, wait, no. You can put two. You can play 3 fireballs next turn.
It's like, where's your keeper now?
Oh my god.
It's frozen and shattered.
This game got really wonky thanks to Emperor Thorson.
I mean, is there anything like I guess a cycle BGH?
Yeah, BGH.
Like BGH off this, you killed the Alex and you taunt up behind the Druid, but otherwise you just have to attack on it. But you know he's got at least 1 fireball.
I mean,
you don't know the rest, right? But
yeah, this is. But he let Alexstrasza hit twice. It's like it's a freeze mage.
Yeah, that's pretty bad here. That's gonna be game. Cloud9 ties it up.
The Druid, with losing the one matchup it actually wanted to pick up.
Savage still played really well. Like, it was correct to leave the Emperor. I mean, it went crazy afterwards, right? Because of what happened, but it was still correct to go for the pop block.
I agree. I think you can't really blame Savit in this situation, and it's unfortunate that now he's lost 3. All 3 games that Liquid's lost has been on Savitz, and I think the stress might be building up too. Savitz is a player that is more emotional than some of the others.
Yeah, it's one of the things really like it has to do something to you.
And really, what is really the most frustrating part is if you get a matchup which you want to get, like you want to face the Freeze Mage's Druid, right? And if you lose that, that is like really soul crushing, and I wonder like how Savage is gonna like handle it. I mean, you get the matchup you want to get, right? And then you lose that matchup. That's like more crushing than just losing any matchup.
Yeah, and you really like mind gamed yourself into trying to position it so maybe the opponents wouldn't put in Freeze Mage. Yeah, it's kind of those like one of those things where he knows he's gonna be at a disadvantage for the rest of the matchups if he ever picks up another one with Druid. So it can only feel like it's gonna get worse from here when you're gonna have to replay that deck.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Klenta redeemed himself from last week. Last week, Klenta went 0-4. This week, he is 2-0. So, Klenta being able to swing the opposite momentum and get 2 wins very quickly, and I think he's happy to do that because we all know that Klenta's also been traveling to Korea, so it's been quite some time before he's been able to go home. In the meantime, we have Strifecrow with the Paladin and the Warlock with Ecop on the Hunter. I'm still feeling like it's okay for anything to come out here. Generally speaking, though, I think I like to see Nyria be able to come out here again because I think Savit's being queued up once more lets him be benched, and then allows you to be cornered into like picking the best matchup against Rogue, and that's not what you want.
Well, the thing is, which of the matchups is exceptionally good against Rogue? I mean, Malilock
Hunter.
isn't. Yeah, Hunter's like the closest thing you're gonna get to a really good matchup. So it's like,
And if you can, like, if Savish is banned, you can really pick your Hunter into Rogue,
yeah.
Yeah.
which usually is not possible.
Do you think mid-range hunter is really favored against
No,
rogue though?
not that
think,
much.
I,
I
thought
think
it, was
it might
like
even lose.
50-50, but
Yeah.
even giving the edge to rogue slightly.
I think the Lotep is such a big deal, which you don't really think about it, just because it allows you to clear the like you have to clear every turn Rogue's minion. That's like the most important thing, and mid-range hunter can do that. And it allows you to set up the high min and not lose to Zap. Like Lotep is very
Okay, I know
strong.
what you
That's why I
mean.
think-
Yeah, so like
You know what I
you're
mean?
at least guaranteed a 5/5, and then you get a 6/5 that's also going to be hard to remove. So then the rogue has to really get like she has to have had already a big weapon to flurry, otherwise she's kind of out of it.
Yeah, and if you have this high min, a rogue can't remove it. Like if you can
Yeah,
like
like Lothab.
survive
set
the
it up.
Zap.
Well, it's kind of like against Freeze Mage, right? Like there's some matchups where it all comes down to Lothab being played in the mid game, like where you push for damage, or late game, let's say, after Alex to prevent the OTK. There's like two good spots, and against the rogue, I guess, you know, if you have the high main, that's kind of your sweet spot as a mid-range hunter.
Yeah. Then it's just too much damage. Then it's oftentimes he's so low in life, just one kill command, whatever is enough to just kill him. Easy.
That makes sense.
So-
Nice. So we're predicting a Nyria rogue.
I
Yes.
say, yeah, probably.
If Cloud9 predicts this, they go with Hunter themselves.
And then they predict this, and then they go with well, they still go with rogue, don't they?
Well, yeah, I think the best choice here on a lot of levels is probably Rogue for Liquid,
Yeah.
just to avoid Savits to get benched here.
They want to dodge the because Ecop is like he's holding the gun on the entire lineup from Liquid at the moment.
Yeah, if I looked at Ecop's face in this picture and you told me he's holding a gun, I'd probably believe you.
It's
Yeah,
so
you're right.
fitting. You
He's
can
got
really
that
imagine
cold
that.
light Oracle crazy look. You
It's
know what
like
I'm
the
saying,
Rumble.
Noxious? There's a little screws loose in there.
There's a few problems with that guy. Wouldn't trust him with my child. All
Oh,
right.
I think that's a great babysitter ad.
I like the guy who's photobombing show.
You know what? I'm gonna have to ask Ecop if I can use that picture in a fake
Ecop,
babysitter ad. You know what? That would be the greatest thing.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your kids are?
Yeah.
Strife Crow versus Nyria is coming up here. It's Warlock versus the Rogue. I feel like Rogue would be okay against this, but then I also think about cards like Twilight Drake and how problematic it is already for Rogue to deal with. And it's that there are threats, but they're not impossible to deal with Rogue. So I feel like it's definitely easier than it is against Handlock. And I already think Rogue is pretty decent against Handlock. So
Yeah, the biggest part is really that you don't have the Molten Giant mind games which you have against Handlock. That makes, I think in general it's easy to play against Malilock just because it's like the biggest thing when you play around against Handlock, right? It's like the
Right.
biggest difference. That you always are not sure, like, am I pushing enough for damage? Do I play around Molten Giants? Like, when do I start playing around Molten Giants?
the
And how much
uncertainty.
life do I keep him? And you don't have that against Malilock. It's like a really big difference. You just go for it, you know?
I think, interestingly enough, like Zoo and mid-range Demon is like the two more difficult warlocks. Because otherwise, I think Rogue is doing very well against them. And even then, you're still maybe slightly favored in some variants against even those faster warlock decks.
Also, the pressure from Handlock is much higher. If he gets the Giant out on 4, you have to kill it or you're dead. In like
Yeah.
the course of 2 or 3 turns. Malilock plays like a Imp Gang boss or something, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this is basically like if you're the rogue player, you just push for damage whenever you have it. Like, the only things that are going to stop you are 2 heal bots, which anyway Handlock also has. But there's the use there in the Warlock hand, so that could come in handy.
yeah, but again, I think it's like we always mentioned, the Blade Flurry here won't necessarily be actually against the teacher kind of stinks for the Rogue. But I think against Warlock specifically, though, Rogue is more inclined to camp than against other classes. So that could be useful.
It was such a huge implosion.
I think that it's also huge that you follow up with Blackwing Corruptor. The amount of tempo you gain on the board through Implosion for 4 and Blackwing Corruptor on curve,
That
like
is
for full
insane.
value, is just
Yeah,
nuts.
I don't
right?
even know what to say. Like what?
The
this
difference
is so hard to
like,
come back.
The difference between like getting a 2 or 3 or 4
Yeah.
is ridiculous when you put it. It's,
But, like, if you
because
think
couldn't
about it-
clear it.
It's like the same play twice, except they just spread it out. So Implosion creates 8 stats and does 4 damage, and it just spreads it out. And then this does 3 damage, but 9 stats, all in one body.
It
It's
completely
just like
shifted
such
the
a
game.
huge swing for Malik. I mean, it was like now it's like Emperor Thorson comes down pretty easily, and
I
deals.
actually wanted to bring that up early when we were talking about Maligos luck. Like, I think that it's whenever I watch this deck being played, it really comes down to implosion luck. Like, because it changes so much, like the entire curse of the game. Like in this situation, like he had no answer for Violet Teacher, and suddenly he had like the best answer.
Yeah. Actually, is this even a good hand for Emperor Thorson? It's not very powerful now that I look at it. Like,
The thing is, but the thing is, it should be difficult to kill. Like he just used the spell power, and usually like 5 toughness is one of the sweet spots. Everything that has 4 health just gets eviscerated. But so there's a chance it survives, and that's like where you like. There's 2 ways of playing Emperors. You play it with like a good quality, hand quality,
Like
and another way is
Maligos.
there's a chance it survives. And if it survives, it's just absolute nuts.
yeah,
Yeah.
too much tempo being gained through the mana reduction.
But I kind of feel like very often in Malilok, you're really trying to push for that extra, Maligos synergy. Like he's got the Hellfire and the coil at least.
Yeah.
It's gonna be worth it. But like a 4 mana Drake is nothing to scoff at. Like 3 mana Defensive Argus again.
But one of the sickest parts are not even. It's like the coil with Maligos.
Yeah, like 6
It's
damage
so-
straight up.
It's so huge.
Sap on Antonidas.
That's
And
good.
Antonidas. Oh man, please don't give the Warlocks Antonidas. I am quitting this game. I am out.
Sorry, not the Antonidas, the Thors.
No, of course. I know what you meant.
I mean, and that is huge for Strive Crew, right? So he knows there was no answer for it.
Uh-huh.
So he gets like another turn of Emperor. It's like really sick. Like that's why it was so worth it to play the Emperor last turn.
Yeah, now you get
This coil is
Mortal
sick,
Coil
too.
for 2,
Yeah.
and you get to draw.
Yeah, and he can still life turn.
Yeah, because why not? Why
I
not?
just played 20 mana. I'm just gonna life turn. Oh man, this looks so bad for Naria just because of the Emperor. Because he will get now he can choose the second Emperor. He got already so much value out of it.
Yeah, if he
Now he
throws
can
it
wait.
just as a throwaway, like he doesn't even care about it anymore. Oh wow!
Oh,
and the
man.
Malagos gets picked up.
That is what you want to reduce.
Yeah, but there's one Soulfire. Never mind. I was gonna say there's no like big damage spell like Dark Bomb.
Well, there's Hellfire,
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of face damage.
but it only becomes 3 mana. You're right. It's not actually that impactful.
It's like you kind of want to wait for the Dark Bomb because you have Malagos already, so you can wait out on that Emperor to really just get maximum lethal possibility with it.
Well, this also sets up, an equally big board, or not equal, like a better board, and you can protect the Emperor if you can't deal with this efficiently. You're ready to use the sap. He's gonna have to have a second one exactly, and
I like this Dr. Boom though in the road.
well, I feel like this might be an opportunity for Hellfire, but at the same time, it's not even that great considering that it kills off your own defender Vargas.
Weapon seems like the ooze seems sort of interesting because I mean even if you just kill Lotheb with the defender, that's enough. Like the Hellfire again is maybe a bit of an overpaying for the effect you get out of it.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah,
gonna
fair
lose
enough.
the defender anyway.
Maybe you just play Drake, trade the Lotheb. Like you just go back to building the board again. Just
Yeah.
the thing is, you can't even set up like a 2-turn kill either, because you only have 2 points of burn, like you mentioned, and Hellfire plus Soulfire is only 17 damage, from what I count.
I think the tempo is gonna be good enough to really threaten Naria here.
Okay, so this is a
Big tempo turn.
the Shadow Flame play. Okay. Perfectly fine if he just wants to start getting, ways to peck in there. And now he can set up so that if these minions do a little bit of damage and control the board, then he can play Emperor Thorson and then he can go for a kill the following turn. So this is a 3-turn plan here from StrifeCrow.
It's gonna get slowed down a bit by the heal bot, but not that much really. Oh wow.
Oh my goodness.
StrifeCrow with the pickups.
That's so big.
Yeah.
And the boombots are not even that good against Imp Gang Boss too, because the 1/1s that spawn.
Yeah, he will probably just attack with them goes first. Hope to get.
Oh no,
more.
we lost
dead.
Oh, that
it's not dead.
sucks.
So what does he do with that other little boombot?
There's nothing you can really do
Yeah.
against it, right?
Yeah.
It's
You still fire it. I mean, that's the obvious answer.
I think it's time to set up for the lethal. You have 17 damage from the Malygos on the following turn. You might even pick up Dark Bomb.
I don't even know if there's like any combination of cards Rook can have. Double oil.
Well, it would have to be like Prep Sprint into Oil Blade Flurry specifically, because that's exactly 10 mana and it sort of wipes the board with the Boombot. But it's like, get lucky,
Yeah.
mate.
Even if he had Blade Flurry just off to that prep, it would have been enough to clear the board here.
Wow, nice Boombot.
It's so funny that Boombots always go for the BGH, right? Is it just
Yeah.
me? It always goes for the BGH.
Oh man, don't start with the dad stuff, chat. My chat experience. It's dead.
It always goes for the BGH.
Dad is dead. Stop bullying dad.
Many options.
Yeah.
Well,
I pretty much think he's forced
This
to play
is-
everything, right? Yes, but the thing is, he can't. He was hoping to kill off the BGH, I guess, so that way he can deadly poison SI the Emperor and then
The
just
Emperor,
heal bot.
like the heal bot could slow things down if the Boombots weren't so bad.
Yeah, but I think Nyrian knows that there's a strong chance that he's dead here. Actually, he's 1 point up. No, he's 1
No,
point
with
down.
that, yeah, he's.
So that should be it. StrifeCrow, barring any really poor sequencing, like getting too ahead of himself and soul firing before Hellfire and discards it, that would end up being the match here.
The
And that
old
should mean
Warlock
Cloud9
life.
goes up 4-3.
Yeah.
I wonder if anyone ever killed himself accidentally with a 8 damage Hellfire. I haven't seen that one.
It has to
Kill
have
myself
happened.
with
Yeah.
3 damage Hellfire sometimes by not paying attention.
Nice.
On 8.
It's more likely than frostbolt in your own face. I heard.
Oh man,
Yeah, for sure.
remember that ECOP game?
Well, that was Klemto's first win, I believe, which means the only person that hasn't been able to get a win is Savitz so far.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Neria still has to win the Rogue, but the matchups that are ahead of him are still kind of okay. Like, it's like it still comes down again to that Druid. Like, what's it gonna do against Paladin? That's pretty rough. Against Hunter, that could also be rough. But at the same time, you could pull it off against, I think, Hunter almost more comfortably than
Pretty
Paladin.
even matchup. Paladin versus Druid.
So yeah, it's kind of a. Then
Plus you
again,
have
like
the
he hasn't
Harrison
gotten an
stuff.
unfair one. Like no unfair start, which is usually what carries you. Like you can play against any deck as Druid, you get an unfair start, like they very often do with a single wild growth start, and then you can't stop them. It doesn't matter what you do. But all the games that he's played so far have been kind of on the slow side of things.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I guess now we come down to either the Paladin and the Hunter up against these classes, and I think Hunter is really safe to go from here. And I think you want to give as many chances to the Paladin as possible. Paladin can beat Rogue. I mean, Rogue can beat itself, and on top of Paladin can curve out really well. Assuming this is the mid-range or a control Paladin. If StrifeCrow is playing aggressive Paladin, then he's in a great spot, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can think that far ahead, like as a team, and you have that spot, and then everyone expects you to play control. And then
Wow, that is pretty next level from Cloud9 to like make it seem like.
and then you have
control
like the
Paladin.
most aggressive Lepanome Paladin.
It's like
leopard
it's
gnome
Hobgoblin
paladin.
with wisps and stuff, and you're like, wow, I thought this deck died 4 months ago.
With
Yeah,
some beats,
Hobgoblin
but-
Paladin all of a sudden.
That's
Then
right.
you get owned.
It'd be fun though. I mean, it's one of those things like it lived for what 2 weeks, and then it just faded away.
And only Savish played it. Like in
Yeah, he's the only player who brought it. And I think he did like
Yeah.
he got a few wins, and then he retired it like just to say, hey, you know what? I came in with this funky deck, and I took a few wins. Look at how good it was. Now I'm out. I'm never playing
That's-
it again.
That's
he
what
actually
kind of
brought it to several tournaments. He brought it to
Mhm,
like
yeah.
Seat Story. He brought it to ESL, and he has like a 60% win rate with that deck. It certainly wasn't the weak link. I think it just became a little like too predictable, so he started playing other stuff, and then it's just since moved on because Hobgoblin Paladin's like inferior to like some of the other decks that are out there that are really aggressive. But it was really interesting to see it do well.
it's kind of sad that it a little bit died out compared to back in the days
Yeah.
last year.
Actually, I think that is one of the few cases in Conquest this year where we've had one deck that's just iconic to a player.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
every other deck, I feel like that's gotten popular has been used by so many people, but Savitz was literally the only player that
Mech
was
Warrior
playing.
Life Coach. That's the other one I've got.
Oh yeah,
That's
okay,
like the only other one, maybe.
Mech
There were
Uh,
only like also very few people that played Fatigue Mage. I think that only Colento and Savish played it in tournaments. It's like one of
Chalky
those
also-
iconics.
Chalky also did. If I
Oh yeah.
recall.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
there's
But one tournament, right?
right, big difference. It was like
It's
Mech.
just
I
one
think
tournament.
Mech Druid from Dog.
Also, Gar, didn't you play at one tournament?
Fatigue Mage?
Yeah. No. You played against Fatigue Mage.
Yeah, against.
And
It was against Savish.
Oh
I
my
remember
God.
why.
It was against
Like,
Savish.
Gar was really salty after losing to Fatigue Mage.
Yeah.
I would be too.
Alright. No man, good times. But that's so cool. I think this is one of the coolest things in Hearthstone when someone has like an iconic deck. It's
Yeah, and no one else chooses to play it.
yeah, like
wish
it's
I would do
good
that.
and nobody else plays it. That's like
Yeah.
awesome. Bloodlust
I wish that
Champion.
would- No, it's even cooler if it's bad and he's the only one playing it and winning with it, right?
Yeah.
That is really cool.
Like Pirate
the
with
coolest
Bloodcell
thing.
Corsair has to happen. Xixo, you're on it, right? He's got to be. Just waiting for that.
one day.
Yeah.
Or like Murloc Shaman.
Oh man.
Murloc Lock.
Yeah.
Like Tides brought it as well. Like it was not bad, right? But nobody decided to play it in a tournament. Stuff like that is so cool.
So he's got the wild.
And he
growth,
won with it.
right? So that could be the unfair start that he needs to
Yeah.
really start pushing for tempo.
I don't know if this is intentional, but Savitz's deck is teched very well against Paladin. He's got Mind Control tech, Harrison Jones. He's got like really good cards to fight back onto the board as after the wild growth too. So I think as long as he can stabilize once, maybe Paladin will try to come back again. But I think generally speaking, he has the tools, but can he keep up with the pace of the Paladin? Because after turn 4, Shrefko has the True Silver champion, but he still needs a little help to get to Dr. Boom safely.
Strifeco's deck is kind of scary because he ran Quartermasters last week, so it's like reasonable to expect that again. So you have to kill those 1/1s. It's like a different playstyle where you know you have to kill those 1/1s than to knowing he doesn't have Quartermaster and you can just ignore it. It's like you make your weaker plays automatically. Like if you know you can ignore the 1/1s, you might as well go for like shades and stuff.
Yeah,
Or like
I see
Druid
what
of
you
the Claw.
hmm
But now you just know you have to kill him.
Time waits for no
Yeah, like if
Well,
you
you
play
also-
shade, you don't do anything.
Yeah, it's true. But you do know that he doesn't have the coin because you have the coin, so you still have one more turn to deal with the 1/1s.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you could probably MC Tech. So, like, MC Tech is the equivalent of, using 2 mana up to kill one, except you get a slight tempo boost out of it. Not a huge one, mind you, but...
Like the thing is, if he gets like a Quartermaster on 3 or so dudes, it might be game over. Because druids usually can't deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
He has the MC tag, but
MC Tech is just
like,
so
yeah.
good against Dr. Boom sometimes. It feels
the
like,
coolest
okay, Gara, how many times has your Dr. Boom been stolen by an MC Tech?
oh, not just Dr. Booms, man. MC Tech stole everything he wanted so far.
Oh man, if there was
It's
a
such a-
quartermaster here, wait, if there was a quartermaster, this would be excruciating
such a-
because you can't even MC tech. Like you have to wrath.
Wow.
Such a random way to win a game with MC
Yeah.
tag.
Yeah, it's
Quite
Hafu's
literally.
most hated card, I think, in Arena.
Like, no, he's not
Alright.
considering it.
Yeah,
He's
it's
not
true.
going for
It is really swingy in Arena for sure because it steals like the Boulder Fist Ogre every time. Every time.
Every time I hear those words, like it's the worst thing is my Boulder Fist, man. It can't do anything.
Dude,
Poor Boulder Fist.
joke, but Boulder Fist Ogre is had lift some serious weight before like GVG came out, and like a lot
Yeah.
of
Because,
made it.
because that type of RNG is not fun. Because the difference of the
Well,
outcomes
it's
is
kind of fun. It's fun for me when I take the doctor.
Oh, when I play it, it doesn't do that. It just steals like the 1/1, not the boom bot. The
Oh, the
1/1.
boom bot's also really good because then it
doesn't take the boom
obviously
bot,
the
man.
mind control tech trades into boom, and then you hit this boom bot and you hit Doctor Boom for 4. It's a full board clear.
You know, kind of like this play just because if there's a True Silver, no normal thing happens. If there's a Quartermaster, you're at least killing 2 of those guys. So
Yeah, the thing about True Silver though is that True Silver is set up and he still has a minion on board, so he can answer most likely whatever can come out for 5 health. There's no card in Druid that's a common rotation that's more than 5 health. So this
Yeah.
1/1 surviving, or even the zombie truck coming out, is a really big deal.
But-
Because it sets up for a safer Sylvanas, which sets up for a safer Doctor Boom.
maybe the Shade is the reason he made that play, because that way he's got a minion that the True Silver will not take out, and he snap plays it. So maybe that was the reasoning.
Yeah, that could be a good point. But this also goes back to show you of like the ramifications of Strifeco consecrating just for 3, just for like to kill off this 3/3 potential that can ever control the board here. So I think like a lot of this is the consequence of Strifeco planning his turns ahead of time.
looks like
Sylvanas-
Strifeco's favorite just because he has the Dr. Boom and Savish doesn't have the BGH right now. Man, that
Oh, he's
MC
got the
tag,
MC tech, man.
it really might come down to the MC tag RNG.
I wonder.
Then we're gonna get nerf MC tech posts. It's toxic for the game.
Probably the worst minion to steal would be the Zombie Chow.
No, by far, yeah.
Don't wanna
Like,
give
hey,
him
do you want
calamity.
5 life? Here's a holy light for you. Take that.
Let's see. Strefco has to also be thinking about the ramifications of playing like Sylvanas now versus loading up similar power on the board with Pilot Shredder and having something stick. And then that way, if he even has like Swipe and BGH or something like that to deal with his board, he'd be more resilient. Sylvanas is like the better guarantee board clear though, because then Shade can't sit here camping forever. And not to mention that like it also halts future development because like he can't just play Dr. Boom this turn, for example,
Oh,
which
man,
he could have
picks up-
if the pilot came out.
He picks up his own Dr. Swag now. And it's green.
Yeah.
Usually that's like an indication that you play.
I wish that Blizzard would make it orange actually on turn 7 because
Yeah.
when it's orange,
you know
it just
it's,
tells
like,
you
enabled.
that the game is like, okay, you probably should play this.
Like with some
So I
warning
think
lights.
whenever you-
It's like with a tooltip popping up.
it's
You
like
should
you
play
throw
this
for a
card.
as you have.
This is like...
That would be the best like April Fool tooltip implementation. You just drew this card.
Oh, just
You
you
can play
watch
it.
next year, man. It's happening.
You should
It's
play
gonna
it.
be like... How long do you think it'll take before Doctor Boom is not a staple of a lot of mid-range decks anymore? Like, that's what I
the
wonder very
reality is
often.
there's just a few cards that are looming that will take its place that people will complain about.
Yeah.
You know, people like always make fun of the fact that they predicted Trogzor to be really good, and then they just got replaced by Dr. Boom. But if Trogzor ever got to the point where it was like Dr. Boom was bad and the meta was just slightly slow enough that Trogzor would be super dominant, people would be asking for the same thing. They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I can't play spells. Where's the interaction in that?"
Like Patron, right? What is the interaction in that?
Yeah, the point is people complain about everything. Another legendary will take place if the best legendary is Dr. Boom's
It could be a common. I mean, Undertaker style.
It's true.
Yeah.
That said, I hope Dr. Boom can die in a grease fire.
Well, at BGH, killing Dr. Boom, this mind control tag is just doing nothing. You kind of have to play the Hungry Dragon, right? At least his swipe is super effective.
again.
Oh my god.
Oh, Revenge.
Boombot's
is it,
always
man.
killing BGHs.
Do
It's
it,
like,
Dad. Yeah.
But
That
it
was
gave
awesome.
time for Savitz to pick up the BGH for the Dr. Boom from Strife Crow,
yeah,
though.
that's huge.
That's a really big outcome for him. Like, it's really important. And he gets, like, a perfect curve, kills a
Wow.
2-2. That's like,
That clear was insane.
yeah.
And then, you know, maybe Strife Grove feels like the opportunity to play Dr. Boom. And then he plays Big Game Hunter. And then the Boombots kill the Big Game Hunter right back. This
Which
is
they
how
will.
wars started, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a non-stop revenge kill after revenge kill. Violence
Yeah.
is not the answer.
Like
Yeah.
in
Never is.
yeah.
Make love, not war.
The reason
Oh, this cash has got really real. All right. Sorry, Gar.
Leon Hands is usually very difficult to develop against Druid.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was a good turn to play Leon Hands. Just to get more options and stuff. Because if he has the BGH for the Dr. Boom, you will be behind on board. And how do you come back on board? It's impossible. You have not the cards. And then you're always like always threatened by lethal from the combo.
Yeah, with a combo. So,
Check this
yeah, I
out.
see what you mean.
That's like because
No,
I've seen
no, no.
many
Check
people.
this out, Gar. Check this out.
Goodbye, Big Game
this is
Hunter. You
how-
will be missed. Although that second juggler is really going to make the muster for battle a lot better. Well, so far not really, but you
You
know.
just stop like the second juggler.
Oh,
man.
oh, never mind that.
It's like every RNG hates.
What the
BGH.
hell?
Moving for duty.
What is
Whoa.
even happening here? What
Look
is
at this.
here? Okay.
It's like every RNG in the game hates BGH.
For duty.
Everything is going for the BGH.
So what does MC Tech take?
Takes the Boombot, of course.
That's a
Actually, if
good
MC
turn.
Tech takes then a knife juggler, it doesn't gain a juggle, right?
We'll see
Actually,
the
it
best-
does. Yeah, it does get one.
It does because of
Yeah.
the way the battle cry triggers before the
Yeah,
the
and if
minion.
it swaps, it could swap turns twice, like from Sylvanas to
I'm gonna
another
call it the
Sylvanas.
Sudrek in the swipe. Damn.
Yeah,
I tried.
I was feeling it, Gar. I think there was some potential there.
I believed in you.
That's so epic if you actually get it, right? To play the Sudrek to top deck swipe.
Juggle
Juggler and to kill off the Boombot into
nothing. Yeah, I told you.
No, to
typical
kill until your
outcome.
own Drake dies. That's kind of how it happens.
Never lucky.
Well, then again, this is not too bad either. I mean, he's got a lay on hands turn. He's gonna get full health value out of it, plus 3 cards. So. But there's really no 2-drop left in his deck, as far as I know. Like mini bots would have to come out right now.
All right. I think we spray a little bit more here, right? Yeah.
Reporting for
Oh,
duty.
that looks really good to strive.
Spread the love.
Just to
Oh.
rapid fire.
Okay. So kill off the 1/1 with the weapon, right? Oh, I guess the Boombot makes sense.
Wow, really?
It usually eats Zudrex as well. Like
Does this
those-
just happen?
Easy.
This just happened, right? Like I'm
I
witnessing
think
this.
so. Death
Okay.
Rattle, kill an Azure Drake. But you know, also the juggle hitting the face on the
First.
on the first juggle off the reinforce ends up costing him the juggler too.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah, and Druid's hand is better than that of the paladins.
Yeah.
I feel so. Maybe this is an opportunity for Savitz to climb back into the game. Remember, Savitz has not won a single game with this Druid deck, and he also refused to reveal his Warlock. So he's really insistent on making this Druid work.
He's deciding whether or not he wants to innervate out of the Shredder, right?
Yeah, but it dies to the Knife Juggler. You need to keep the Keeper of the Grove for the Tyrion. So.
Well,
Strife is also out of Master for Battle, right? He played one early in the game, and the second one just now. So the Quartermasters are kind of...
Can you just like tempo your opponent, like mini bot, hero power quartermaster, and then just push face?
that's what I'm thinking at the moment. Because he's so far out of lethal range, even with combo at the moment, that he could probably just try to force Savitz to play defensively. And if Savitz doesn't pick up taunts, then usually you're going to be fine. And you still have an Iron Beak Owl to go through it. So
And he also just saw the MC tech.
Oh yeah, unless he has a second MC tech.
Oh, man,
man.
that would
Can you
completely
imagine?
catch him off guard here.
flipping the game upside
He'll
down.
never expect the second. He'll definitely not expect the third.
You never expect the second. You usually don't expect the first one, but you never expect...
Wow, that's awkward.
Let's see.
Double keeper.
So now he's threatened of dying here.
Yeah.
He can silence and place Sylvanas and remove 4 damage off the board. So then there's 2, 4, 5, 9 damage with True Silver. He would die to Consecrate.
Mm-hmm. Or
There's
Seal
not a lot
of
of good
Light.
ways to do this. Seal of Light. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a card that I saw. What's his name? Stan
Kibler
Sif
played
play.
it. Yeah, Sense of
Kibler?
Kibler.
And they were like super anti-Hunter tech cards, and they still lost to Hunter.
That's so cool. I used to play one random Hammer of Wrath card run, so I can remove it.
It's like, is he playing Control Pally? I don't know anymore, man. There's a Hammer of Wrath right there.
Hammer of Wrath is an aggro paladin too sometimes.
Yeah, every time.
They will never expect the random Hammer of Wrath.
He's actually just gonna take 8 damage here. Like, he's setting himself up to be on 3 health, so he's actually out of range of contact.
Does it make you guys die a little inside that you realize, like, you know, Hammer of Wrath versus Quick Shot, and you're just like, oh my god, the difference in mana.
I gave up. I gave up on the Hammer of Wrath and like closed beta, man.
I did. I wept a little bit for the paladin as soon as I
Close
saw
beta.
Quick Shot. I was like, rip in peace, Hammer of Wrath.
Where's my Hammer of Wrath now?
It would actually be a lethal.
That's right.
Oh,
The best argument I've ever made for Hammer of Wrath. It would be lethal.
Well,
This-
yeah, if we're continuing that train of thought, there's a lot of things. You could have played Nightblade for lethal.
Do you mean Stormpike Commando is now tier 1?
You know, in some situations, it's not bad. You saw it in Challenge Stone be pretty effective. I don't know if you need to silence those Sylvanas. I think on the off chance that something gets stolen, you can use it to push past the taunt for lethal. With
Yeah,
the
I think you could kill your own Sylve here if you're Saviz.
Yeah, but that's a really desperate call to steal his biggest minion, like the Quartermaster, perhaps, or even the Minibot.
I'd even take the 1/2 slime here. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, how desperate am I at this point? Like, with Savage Roar, how much can you push? Like, what can you kill? Because that's really the ultimate question. Is like, how do I live through this turn? It's nice that I can remove some of that stuff. There's a lot of damage. This is kind of the strength of mid-range Pally too nowadays. Like, they can really just turn the tide around tempo-wise, which is not something Control Pally used to do.
I really like the tempo play as opposed to the board control play he had a few turns ago. In fact, I really like the way Strifeko played this game from beginning to end. That's not a very controversial statement that I'll make, but I think generally speaking, he played like very well and just according to how Paladins should approach this matchup. Because I've seen too many Paladins play control oriented when there's a lot of opportunities to beat tempo.
Well, it's gonna be it for Savic again with the Druid losing the game to Paladin on top of all the rest. So that's 4 losses for Savic's Druid, I think.
Yeah, not the best day for.
it's so
Finnish
mean.
play.
It feels like in so many
Oh, man.
games, there's always one guy,
There's always one guy that's
including
struggling.
myself.
Like, so Trump and then Savic
Okay.
here getting the...
You're carrying the cast. That's what you get to do today.
There's Tiddler, I think, had the problem again in week 1, right? If I remember, like, Tiddler didn't win
Yep.
a single game.
Yeah.
Tiddler and Kalento, 2 players who were touted
Right.
as like the aces of their team, end up getting pounded in week 1. Not the same case today. Kalento is 2-0 and done for Cloud9. Strifeko is actually done for Cloud9 as well, I believe. So that means only Ecomp remains as Cloud9 is up 5-3, and Savitz and Nyria have to win against this Hunter.
And I have to point out that it wasn't a misplay to not attack the Shredder first from Colento in the Freeze Mage game because he played around Neruba Weblord. Because if he gets that, he
okay.
can't Alexstrasza.
That's right.
So it's better to play around Nerbar Wellblord than it is...
The unholy
Never-
trinity. The unholy
Never-
trinity is Doomsayer.
You're right, you're right. It's like, just like, yeah.
Ruba
Never
Weblord
fire
and
shots
Panther.
at Colento, man, if you can't back it up 100%.
Oh, snap. No, you're right,
Those
Jeff.
ways are not our
Right about
ways.
that. Makes a lot of sense. It's not a misplay at all, actually. He's got like 2
Cleanto
cards
works.
instead of 1.
Cleanto
play
works
around.
in mysterious ways, and he gets the wins.
hmm
He gets the wins.
Plays Priest, too. Sometimes.
It's like, yeah. It's like when the thing with when you play a lot of rogues and then you see them killing Shredders last, it's mostly because of Cho, right? It's just a different card you play around. You rather play around Cho than around Doomsayer, stuff like that.
Yeah. Low Walker Cho. Oh, man. You know, this guy, like, I wish some people one day, like, they nerfed it so much that it's now unplayable, but it used to be a 1-mana 1/3 with the exact same effect. Like, it was really toxic in the small community that played it, because, like, you could play it in Zoo, and it was so good as a 1-mana 1/3.
Which, sorry.
Lord Walker Cho.
Lord Walker Cho, yeah. Was it 1/3? I thought it was.
It was a 1-mana 1/3, and then it became a 2-mana 1/4. But, like, initially it was a 1-mana card.
Yeah, I remember it was one of the 1/4. Okay. Lord Walker Cho is still great. Did you see that game with Nyria versus Dog, right, Gara?
Oh my god. I casted that one.
Were you?
Yeah.
I thought it was okay. I thought it was me, Nimsh, and Lothar, but I guess it was me.
That was like,
yeah, mind blown.
I mean, mistakes were made, but it's
a lot of
insane.
mistakes were made by everybody.
Yeah, it's like impossible to play right.
You're like, which spell do I feed him and when and how?
How do I?
And then when it gets buffed up by the oil, you're like, well, I guess I gotta keep this guy now.
And the funny thing is, people are so persistent. Nobody wants to kill it. Like nobody wants to kill it first. It's like, oh, I want your spells.
Yeah. Like, I want to Blade Flurry with my Death Bite, man. Come on, give it to me.
By the way, guys, you saw the Twitter coming in once in a while. In fact, we have it pulled up right now. Loving this tournament. Amaz, something to look forward to every day before work. And all you need to do is to hashtag ATLC, and you too get 10 seconds of Twitter fame. Shout out to Crazy K for being able to join in the conversation. We have Ecop versus somebody. It's a rogue player, so that has to be Nyria.
All right, so
It's looking
somebody.
really good for Cloud9, man. Free tries on Midrange Hunter.
It's bound to
Looking
take
good.
at least, you know, one very often. You know, they just have to run at it often enough. You'll eventually get a win.
Well, it's against matchups that it might even be good against, right? The
Yeah.
Druid and
The
we
Rogue.
don't know the Warlock yet, but the Rogue, according to Gara, and Gara's a big time Hunter player. You know, he's feeling the Hunter here too.
And yeah, he has like a lot of the core cards. Like the bow is a really important card because you need to kill the free drops. He has the Coin Misha into Misha, which is also, you know, a PUP. Actually, the kill command is also underrated because killing Violet Teacher is also super important.
Yeah, if it's not played with a prep and a removal piece very often, you'll get.
There you
it.
go. Call it.
That's
Coin Misha into Misha.
Yeah, that's really annoying to deal with. You can kill it, just give up preparation, or you can deal with it through saps and stuff too. Whoa, but you want to save that prep for the Violet Teacher, right? Because you Violet Teacher prep sap.
yeah, I'd imagine.
But if he
sap-
coins Animal Companions, you know he has a 3-mana play again, right?
You have to save the zap for the casters, man.
You can't sap me. I got a Wii spell
Alright, you are
stopper
so
next to me,
clever.
man.
Oh my god.
Let's save the sap for the casters.
Literally the funniest man in Bosnia.
There's one man in Bosnia, no? How many people?
Like 8 million or something.
There's a lot.
I know,
There's
man.
there's a lot more than you think, for sure.
There's more
Yeah,
people
I
in
looked
Twitch
it up.
chat than in Bosnia.
I got accused of not knowing what I was talking about because I went to Poznan in Poland, right? And I said I went to like a small city in Poland. I meant a city, and I said a small city. And it's like the second biggest city in Poland. And I knew that, and people just jumped on my throat.
You're not even American. You can't say that kind of stuff. Be
Oh,
careful.
damn.
Yeah.
I was accused of being American multiple times because of that statement.
Good stuff. Well, you can,
What?
the Violet Teacher
Not
is a
just
big
you're not
threat.
American?
No.
No.
Well,
Noxious
North
is-
American, I guess. I could be considered one. I'm like from Canada.
Yeah, he's from Canada.
Yeah, I hail from Cripland.
He's from US Light. You want to deal with this Violet Teacher as soon as possible, like you said, because the freezing traps or just the traps in general are dealt with so well with the 1/1s.
Mhm.
Yeah, you
like-
can't really deal with the 1/1s. If you don't have Unleash, he doesn't have it.
Right. Knife Jugger Unleash is their best counter. All right, quick shot. You have
Yeah, you
two
can see with
weapons.
display. Yeah.
As part of this. Do you play Knife Juggler though, or do you just hero?
This is a deadly poison. I don't know if I would sacrifice it.
Hmm.
Because you can get
Is that
it
me-
with the Animal Companion next turn, right?
As a mid-range hunter, it's not so important to value the hero power return as much as with more aggressive hunters. You just want to play minions and force your opponent to use removals on it. But his hand, the thing is that his hand is very aggressive, so you kind of have to switch up your play style. It really have, like, according to your hand. If his hand would be like a high main, he would have played the knife juggler just to force removals. But if you have like a lot of burst damage, you value the base much more.
Wow,
Oh man, that
this
sucks.
tempo heal bot. I don't think I've seen. Like, I never thought I'd say those words, but
Well, it's
this is
basically
tempo
a
heal
second
bot.
Farseer, for lack of a better
Embarrassing,
appropriate response. All weapons are used though.
Yeah, and if this is a Misha,
Tempo heal bot.
oh man, what on earth is going on?
I told you, double Misha, man.
I think you just. Oh, never mind. That's gonna solve the problem.
Spell power allows you
Oh,
to clear.
nice.
Ah, the sprint.
You might not need sprint next turn because you have Doctor Boom, but the following turn that's great.
And the hunter hand is really bad.
It got worse and worse, and now it's also very off curve. Like, no matter how you look at it.
It's all because of the tempo heal bot.
All hail your
up.
5. This was like the worst 3-drop, like 3-3 I've ever seen. And still,
And Rio loves to see that play, man. That looks really like a desperation play. I'll kill command, hero power.
it's like, yeah, that works. No high main, I can do this. I get the
For
initiative.
sure.
Oh wow.
Boom. Fight back onto the board. Now there is another kill command to stabilize, but Hunter used most of his damage at that point.
Yeah, but followed by Lothab, it's not half bad, is it?
No, it's definitely not bad at all, considering that you can control the state of the board, and you're hoping that you can catch a sprint.
Neria
He's
is
also, he's also so low on life already, the hunter.
Oh, you're right, because you don't want this 1/1 to actually die, because then it challenges Lothab. Yeah, but it absorbed damage, like we were
Yeah,
talking about.
3 damage is like almost lethal.
I mean, it's totally irrelevant.
14 minus 3, 11. It's almost lethal. But you know
Yeah,
what? It's
you have
actually
one more
true in
bomb.
this case, though. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's actually really close. When you look at
That's-
the way Rogue operates.
Isn't it kind of funny though? It's like Ecop was at like half life, which means he's dead practically to a lot of decks.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. You have to kill it. Like, if the juggle misses, you have to run the lot.
Hit face. Hit face. Okay, he definitely got lucky
4.
there.
Oh, I told you, almost lethal, man.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Those
Gavin.
bombs, man. Those bombs.
Oh my goodness, so
Wait.
close.
yeah.
no, you
almost-
sap high
One
main, then you
damage
thinkers and
on
attack
lethal.
phase.
I think you sap the high main and you just go for it, right?
Yeah.
1 damage on lethal. Wait for the heal
And
bot
then
coming up.
Houndmaster.
Oh, it doesn't even sap. He
Ah,
needs to
because of-
get past the taunt. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
he doesn't
Yeah,
believe
if
it.
you top decks.
Ooh,
Last time.
imagine if that was misdirection.
Misdirection.
Can you imagine the crazy plays?
Yeah, that would be so hilarious.
Oh,
He would probably
my-
just sprint for some damage.
Does
That's
he cop
true.
try to mind games in area or just escape concede?
Oh my god. I want to see the random misdirection in the tournament. Someone getting a win of it.
Wait, epic. Yeah, okay. He has the eviscerate just in case.
Man up in the area.
Oh, wow.
It is a play around misdirection. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're
Like-
right. Never mind. Didn't matter, misdirection. What are we talking
And now
about?
the misdirection doesn't go off.
Yeah, vanish the casters, man. Never mind this.
All right. Well, that's gonna keep Liquid alive, 5-4. Ecop has another chance, but we did think that this was the best chance for Liquid to win, and that also means Nyria is done for the day, which means the big story.
Can
If-
Savage do this? Yeah.
If
it's just
Savitz
two
can
more
take
minutes.
this, if Savitz can take this, then we also have another thing where Ecop has lost, would be losing 5 games for his team too, because he's racked up some losses himself.
And it
Yeah, I think he's at
seems very
3 now, right?
Sorry, what?
He's 2 losses with the Hunter and 1 with the Warrior. I think.
Yes, correct. Right now, Ecop's 1-3. Savitz is 0-4, and right now they're basically given the same exact role, which is don't lose to the person that's been struggling today.
And we don't know the Warlock of Seville, but usually every Warlock tends to be unfavored against Hunter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So both decks seem to be pretty bad against Hunter.
There is one archetype that actually beats Hunter every time. and it's the hyper healing warlock with like every removal piece you could think of, like every single bit. It's only good against like 3 decks, and
That's
nobody
something
plays
you would
it.
play, man.
Yeah, nobody plays it because it's just so horrendous
Whoa,
against the, like on the
shucks.
ladder. But in tournaments, it's just so bad. Like in tournaments, it's actually viable. In ladder, it's so terrible.
Noxus would bring back like aggro priest, super hyper healing warlock.
Wait. Noxious, did you actually test that aggro priest at all? Not the one in Challenge Stone, but there's a legitimate aggro priest that was like top
It's
10
more like a
Chinese.
tempo priest. Like I looked at it, people told me it's the aggro priest you've always wanted to play. I'm like, no, it's not running Lepernomes and Shadow Bombers,
No,
right? Like
It's got like 2
Death
Mind
Lords
Blasts
and-
and stuff like that.
Nobody played more aggro priest in tournaments than Noxus.
yeah. Oh wow, I've got this to say.
True.
There's one more
and he has a
thing.
100% win rate with it.
It's your
Yeah, it's
iconic
perfect.
deck.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly what I am. The thing is, I've worked so hard to make it work, but it's just so horrendous. Oh man, MC Tech's actually not even half bad against Hunter. It's in fact quite good in some cases.
But if you know your opponent runs MC tag, that makes it so much worse.
Yeah, that's a good point. Although I feel like MC Tech is not as impactful as it
No.
might be,
Wow.
considering that like one of the best ways for Hunter to deal with Hunter is to play Hunter. And so a lot of times, like, oh yeah, you can steal something with MC Tech, but then they kill your MC Tech and play Freezing Trap and Push Phase, that kind of thing.
It's like, it's nice that you're focusing on these little things. Go, Huffer.
You got
Right.
the first
You.
mission in a row.
Yeah, this, I feel like RNG is skewed, and it's based on players. Like, some player will get, like, 17 Huffers, the other one will, like, get, like, 25 Mishas, and the other one will get all the Leox that nobody else wants.
That's me. I pick up all the Leox. Someone has
Yeah, there
to.
you go, see? That's what I'm talking about. You're like the scapegoat of all the bad animal companions.
Yeah.
Wait, did he get a web spinner off the web spinner? I missed that. Turns out he did. There's no other beast.
Yeah,
Oh man.
it's cool. Tavern Brawl's still going for some people.
And this is so
Westmanception.
important for Hunter usually. You really want to play like those threats on curve. On 4 you wanna usually play a Shredder, it's very important, but he kinda skipped that one turn. This gives like a druid a chance to come back, you know.
Yeah. It goes from
Like web
death
spinner.
to a
Yeah,
struggle.
the game has slowed down considerably too, and doesn't even have High Main as his big threat to follow up in the mid game.
Web spinner is a big
Houndmaster's-
difference compared to a Shredder. And he has the Harrison
Yeah.
as well. Still looking bad for the druid so far because of just the nature of Hunter. It's just
Yeah.
going face.
And turn 6 is also not too bad for Ecop. I mean, he's got the Houndmaster with the quick shot. So, like, using spot removal or the web spinner as a buffer for damage is also very easy. I don't think he's going to be in that much of trouble.
Yeah, it's looking good for the Hunter,
Mhm.
but it could look even better.
It always looks good for the Hunter.
Yeah,
When does it not look good for the Hunter? It's kind of rare, right? Like, yeah.
I wonder if people will stop play at some point. Stop playing Druid in this tournament because whenever it's played, it just feels like it's losing too many games.
Bring aggro priest, man. You will just never lose to a Hunter ever again. Ever.
Well, that's the thing too. I think some people feel like they have to bring Druid, but as soon as like if there really is some content coming out, that's when it's going to be really exciting to watch the tournament because
Oh, yeah,
then you
we'll
start
see.
seeing like week by week people are trying out different decks. Like maybe everyone tries the same deck at the same time because everyone's watching each other, but then you might legitimately see some teams hiding stuff and not streaming things, and like all of a sudden a new deck comes out. It's really cool.
And it's time for this is like a card expansion, so it will be the game will be a lot different.
Yeah.
We'll see. Hitting face seems okay. You have kill command and weapon damage and burn.
I was gonna say, do you think he's gonna do anything but go
Yeah,
first?
like I don't know why Ecop was like, maybe trade.
It feels bad, man.
This is the place. And this could be like the entire series point for Cloud9 if this Hunter wins.
Yeah.
I mean, what if, like, is the Shredder the only hope of Savist, like, for it to really do something meaningful?
Yeah, I mean, look at that MC tech. Pretty useless here.
Mm-hmm.
He
Yeah,
could
the games don't move
also,
well.
yeah, he also could play Sludge Belcher and then Shredder trade, like you said, and then hope something good comes out.
I mean, if Savish could see Ecop's hand, he would concede. It's like the biggest nightmare hand you can imagine.
Well, hold on. He doesn't actually have a beast to benefit off kill command except for the web spinner, and if it's a really expensive beast, you can't get the full value off of it. So he might still have a couple of turns, and he can heal with Ancient of Lore. And then he has like a big board. He might threaten Savage War if he picks up Force.
He's like another Archon.
Completely over. Look at that.
That's decent.
Yeah, it's not completely.
Mike's no.
That's pretty good.
Oh
Not
well,
Mike's, but,
that's also not too bad. This is
Actually,
like
yeah.
the most complicated like a turn we'll ever get for a hunter player.
Wow.
It looks really complex.
You have some serious hunter hate, man.
No, but it looks like one of the more
Nesting
complex
Wary in
ones.
all your decks, don't you?
No, but it's true. Like the hunter decks seem to always have a very like somewhat straightforward play. I think it only becomes really tough when you're facing off against other hunters, where like every tiny decision like really starts mattering. That's what I found very often.
Yeah, Unleash skill command looks fine.
Mm-hmm.
It is off curve if you do that, which is
Yeah, that's why he was considering kind of
like Lotheb quick shot and slow play it, but
yeah, because yeah, the knife juggler Unleash next turn just seems so strong, and you really want to get the hero powers in at this. But he can dash.
he's
in.
running out of time. Ecop. No.
So he decided to.
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. That's okay. That's good. That's good.
Oh, he's well, Savich still has a chance then.
Oh yeah.
So this
Keeper,
means-
MC.
Yeah, yeah.
Pressure's gonna start piling on though, but.
I
Yeah,
think
he'll horn
Savage
pull.
doesn't care so much about his minions being removed as much as if his life total.
Yeah.
Keeper BGH
I must save
or MC Tag. It's-
Yeah. MC Tech is increasingly less useful. But he's already used Unleash. Even if he plays something that can fill the board like Dr. Boom, he's got Big Game Hunter.
This weapon's not gonna be. It's not gonna do all that Ecop wants it to.
Looks like he's just clearing the MC Tag with the weapon and going low tap.
Mhm.
Yep.
Seems like the most straightforward play, and also probably the better one in this case.
He still has like a lot of burst damage. If low tap gets a hit in.
Let's see. See, heal back up to 18. The thing is, Harrison also is like gaining 3 life too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, exactly. It's not much weaker.
Oh, so he could next turn get something done. The thing is, he's gonna be solo on. Yeah, there's like 10 damage right there. So any other source of damage is gonna be a problem. And Maexna as well. Like if you place a taunt, you punish him with Maexna. So then he has to trade everything into it.
And you always usually expect like slightly less damage from a mid-range hunter than from a face hunter. After seeing like Unleash and one bow and kill command, you usually feel safe. A little bit safe.
There's a lot of I feel like there is still room for a comeback here though.
Yeah. If he goes for
Like
the trading game, it's possible. Because again,
Yeah.
if you just go face, you're afraid of getting comboed down immediately. So there's a reason why Ecop is probably considering just clearing the board a little bit.
Yeah, as I said, like I'm pretty sure Savish doesn't care about like any of his minions dying. He just wants his life to be as high as possible.
Ooh.
Oh man.
This
No
could
way.
be. This could get absolutely disgusting really quickly.
Oh, if that hits the BJs, that feels bad, man.
It almost doesn't matter because Quickshot kills Harrison, which is pretty solid as well. Oh man.
Yeah, only face will be terrible.
Oh.
Oh my god!
Rake and swipe. Whoa. The,
Okay.
He has
this
even
is
the
it.
BJs to proc whatever.
Yeah, he's got it. Well,
Oh, but you want to proc the lore.
He's gonna want to play Ancient of Lore and let that bounce back.
Yeah.
right?
oh man. This
But
was
that
the
makes
top
them,
deck
man.
to rule them all.
Wow.
That was it. That is exactly what he was looking for.
Whoa!
But that makes
And
them,
now the
Red.
Druid's looking good. Uh-oh, maybe
wait.
not
Oh,
that.
baby.
Taunted Max.
man. Oh, baby. How often do you see that in competitive play?
All right, Black Knight off the top.
I don't
Let's
even
do
know
it.
what to
Let's
say.
go, boys. No, okay.
You
That would've
can't
been
kill it.
You see Sylvanas it, right? and then you just win.
No. I mean, he will die if he just plays him on us, right?
Yeah. I think you kind of... thing is, like,
Man,
there's a
that-
freezing trap and possibly a snake, right? So,
Oh, yeah.
He can't even kill it then.
yeah, he's got to, like, Druid of the Claw, taunt up, and wait. Almost, like, do that and then play Power
Yeah.
Shredder, see where
Or
that goes.
maybe even Drew the Claw Savage Roar and clear the board.
That makes the... Wait, that doesn't look so bad for Ecop actually because of Makesna.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm going to say that, but Makesna might win a game.
It's probably
Oh,
Snake
I
Trap
think
freezing, right?
Yeah,
He can clear the board though, right? If he drew the Claw Savage Roar, he charges it, and then he clears the board with the hero power on the Houndmaster afterwards.
you're right. He can use 2 minutes to kill that Makesna, and then he's going to be able to get the tempo back and heal himself up.
You don't really want to proc snakes though.
Yeah, those 3 little
It's
1/1s
snake
are
trap.
the problem. It probably is, yeah. It kind of has to be, no? I guess you could play explosive in that mid range, but I don't see that being very likely.
Oh man, that Makesna. Is he gonna win him the game?
It might.
Oh,
3 little
man.
snakes that could.
That is pretty brutal.
And he had to use his only taunt for that play. So
Yeah.
those snakes, man.
5 damage
It's-
right here.
Is that the Leok top deck?
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's the first card.
Oh, Blizzard buffed Unleash the Hounds. Did you know that? You used to be able to play Unleash the Hounds when there was no minions on your opponent's
Yeah,
board.
on your board. What's up with that?
Wow.
Oh, whoa. Isn't Force...
I was gonna say, isn't Force better? But then I
Yeah,
thought
I-
about quick shot and other stuff.
He
But
used already
he's
quick
seen
shot.
2 bows, right? He used 2 quick shots, 2 bows, and there's 1 kill command left, I think.
You don't play double quick shot.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So, like, there's nothing that can really kill you.
Oh, that top deck. It's pretty huge.
No, but Savage Roar ends the game. Savage Roar number 2 ends the game.
Mm-hmm,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it does, you're
Believe
right.
in miracles.
Not today.
Oof, what now?
You have to
Wild- wait,
force
Wild
removal.
Growth can still
Yeah, you have to.
pick up a Keeper of the Grove.
Yeah, but okay, so you wild growth first, then you check if you get the keeper, and if you don't, then you force of nature for removal and wipe the board.
Oh,
Because that really
so-
leaves you with a clean board completely.
You probably need to play Pilot Shredder. But using Force of Nature is also your only like out, so to speak, right?
Yeah. Okay.
It's like that's your way you win next turn because there's only so long you can stall before the hunter just presses for the win.
Man, this game's so close.
Then I don't see how he can. I don't see how he can get away with not playing force. I guess, yeah, as you said, keep the growth off the wild growth, but it's
Okay.
like-
What he's gonna need to do is have Pilot Shredder die and be Vitality Totem.
Oh man. I got
Now
3
that-
Vitality
now
Totems
that's
yesterday.
One memorable way.
There's hope. Oh man, if that happens, imagine losing because of Vitality Totem.
But now kill command is lethal, right?
But there's
Yeah.
also like the...
Weapons, another weapon's lethal. There's
He's
a
got-
lot.
Oh man.
I
It comes down
think
to...
if this is Leok, it's still lethal. Yeah, there
Yeah,
it
it
is.
is.
So, looks like it wasn't the full comeback, but the big story of the day. Savitz goes 0-5 with Druid.
Yeah. I want to say I'm surprised, but I think it's one of those, weaker decks at the moment. Like, it's not weak per se, but it's not where it used to be. I mean, I know Eloise had that problem on the first week, like where I think she lost multiple games with her Druid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so did Oskaka, and now Savitz. And
Yeah.
you know what? Now Savitz joins Gara in the 05 club.
Hey!
So
I'm not
now you
alone.
have your second member.
Yeah, but Savitz
to
did it
give
with
him-
one class, though. I think it's more impressive.
I have to give him a hug.
Oh man, that's right. He was very close to going 06 with one class. It's just the brutal nature of the format.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, if it wasn't Savitz, it could have easily been Sho or Nyria. based off the fact that you can't play the same class as some of your teammates. So one person will get a suboptimal lineup, or they'll get two classes that they're not as good with, or it's not good for the meta game. So it's a team effort. It's really unfair to peg this on Savitz. It's like, in the end, Team Liquid had a Druid that went 0-5. It's not just him.
No, I agree with you. I think it's more down to the class at some point. With all, the level of those players, it's not really necessarily the individual skill that comes into play. A lot of the time,
Savitz played extremely well.
Yep.
Like there were like a couple very difficult decisions, and he made the right call.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say like
was not the worst player today, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, that wraps up our first match here, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by, Gar. Do you have any final thoughts on the match overall?
I think we saw some very high level play overall. It was a very exciting and close match, and yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I love you all.
Aw, love you too.
This is
right, cool.
Heartwarming.
Well, Noxious is going to probably stick around with me, too. I think we have another guest caster. I believe it is Brian Kibler. He's going to be hopping on for our next match. Who do we have, Noxious?
We're going to be seeing, I think it's going to be Nihilum versus Celestial. So it's going to be Life Coach, Thijs, and RDU versus Tiddler, Frozen Ice, and Silent Storm. I think week one, the Celestial team had a bit of a rough time. Tiddler, actually, the coach, had the roughest of times. RD had a bit of a, like his own, I guess, 1-3 score. He wasn't very satisfied with, but he said that his team supported him, so it didn't really play too much into his ability to play well. So we'll see if they can get another win this week.
Feels like every match, there's at least one person that's down in the dumps, and we'll find out who that's going to be right after this break. You're watching the ATLC? Anyway.
Pirates, I only can imagine Red Corsair being used, but there's no synergy between pirates. Maybe they should be buffed.
Awful. Removed from the game, please.
Are you ready for this, guys? Are you motherfucking entertained? Perfect, man.
Pirates? Oh, that sounds like some decks that arenas like to play.
Pirates need more pirates. There's not enough of them.
Fun, but under 2 week. Blizzard buff, please.